What's taking us so long, folks? What's taking us so long to go ahead and say, shit, this our shit. We ain't gonna keep on being controlled. Ain't nobody giving them approval for nothing that they doing out this bitch. Ain't nobody, ain't the citizens they ain't even asked us, they ain't asked us not a damn thing saying, oh, do y'all agree on this and we do this to y'all air pollution, we do this to y'all water system. They ain't asking us shit. They doing whatever the fuck they wanna do. So why the fuck ain't we stand up and say, nah, hold the fuck up, bro. Y'all ain't gonna do all this shit because 10 times out of motherfucking 10, the area state they live in, the water that they eat, the food that they eat, and the air that they fucking breathe ain't getting tampered with and poisoned. Problem is, ain't nobody around this motherfucker saying no to shit. That's how everything getting approved around this bitch. That's how our motherfucking earth fucked up. That's how our food fucked up. That's how our water fucked up. That's why we can't bring seeds from other countries to the United States. So whenever everything started to get worse, don't look around and be like, damn, how the fuck we get here? Nigga, y'all know how the fuck we got here. We just sat the fuck around and I did none of this. Watch it the fuck happen. The whole motherfucking time, y'all keep on wondering, when the motherfucker gonna stand up? When we gonna do this? We're gonna do it when it's too late. That's when we gonna do it. That's when the motherfucker really gonna be like, you know what? We tired of this shit. You will never know the motherfucker outcome if your ass don't never stand on your ticket. If your ass don't never stand on 10. Everybody out this bitch talking about they standing on 10 and ain't standing on shit. What's taking us so long, folks? What's taking us so long to go ahead and say, shit, this our shit. We ain't gonna keep on being controlled. Ain't nobody giving them approval for nothing that they doing out this bitch. Ain't nobody, ain't the citizens they ain't even asked us, they ain't asked us not a damn thing saying, oh, do y'all agree on this and we do this to y'all air pollution, we do this to y'all water system. They ain't asking us shit. They doing whatever the fuck they wanna do. So why the fuck ain't we stand up and say, nah, hold the fuck up, bro. Y'all ain't gonna do all this shit because 10 times out of motherfucking 10, the area state they live in, the water that they eat, the food that they eat, and the air that they fucking breathe ain't getting tampered with and poisoned. Problem is, ain't nobody around this motherfucker saying no to shit. That's how everything getting approved around this bitch. That's how our motherfucking earth fucked up. That's how our food fucked up. That's how our water fucked up. That's why we can't bring seeds from other countries to the United States. So whenever everything started to get worse, don't look around and be like, damn, how the fuck we get here? Nigga, y'all know how the fuck we got here. We just sat the fuck around and I did none of this. Watch it the fuck happen. The whole motherfucking time, y'all keep on wondering, When the motherfucker gonna stand up? When we gonna do this? We're gonna do it when it's too late. That's when we gonna do it. That's when the motherfucker really gonna be like, you know what, we tired of this shit. You will never know the motherfucker outcome if your ass don't never stand on your tip. If your ass don't never stand on 10. Everybody out this bitch talking about they standing on 10 and ain't standing on shit.
Hard to find out where
What's
we
taking us so
start
long?
sometimes on these
What's
videos,
taking
eh?
us so long to go ahead and say, shit, this our shit. We have to keep on being controlled.
Did it restart?
I think it restarted at some point because it sounded. It's hard. Sometimes people repeat what they said earlier and they change it up a little bit, but I think it did. This one's on a loop. So, hello everyone. How's it going? Thanks for being with us.
He was pissed. Hi,
Yeah,
Jacqueline.
that was great.
Jacqueline.
But this is like,
I knew you would like it.
Oh, he's saying everything we need to be hearing right now as far as, that's got nothing to do with actually like with the port strike or whatever.
Yes, it does.
That mentality is what's been missing, right? Every time we have a strike and then they order them back to work or whatever, I guess we're just going to have to comply. We're just going to have to say, yes, sir. Even though we know that everything is kind of corrupt to the eyeballs, like as bad as it can get. So when do you have enough justification to say, no, you don't have any authority anymore, even if you're supposedly in charge? You ain't charge of shit. You're not in charge of shit because you're not running shit, right?
Correct. But the thing about it is, like, when are we going to, like, what are we supposed to do? That's the question. That's the question none of us have an answer to.
Yeah.
The only answer we have is, like, peacefully protest and vote. Like, what? We've been doing that shit for how?
I mean, it's great to get all fired up and stuff. That's like, I'm energetically in my feelings, ready to do the right thing. Just tell me what that is, right? We need someone to tell us what it is. Like, we think we're just supposed to go burn everything down and that's going to fix everything. Like, that's where everyone criticizes anarchists and stuff. And we say, we got to get organized and we have to pick the right day to come at something. And then we tend to spend so much time preparing for something that something never actually happens. So we do got to get our shit together. We just got to figure out how to do that.
So. Yeah, thanks for popping in, John H. He's at work, but he just popped in to say hello. We appreciate that. We appreciate you just doing that.
Hope you can still listen.
Don't work too hard. Don't work too hard. Quiet quit.
Yeah. That's like part of what we're talking about as far as what to do, because everyone has their own idea, right? Sometimes I think there's a lot of people doing this quiet quitting, surviving, and that's not exactly solidarity with the people who are sticking their necks out more. So it's all about coordinating the right, like it's not the right, like there's not one size fits all. It's about the context of the situation, I think, right?
Wait, can you break that down for me? Because, okay, you know what quiet quitting means, correct?
That's when you stop working as hard as like 110% for a raise you're never going to get. So you just do your job description and you go home. And if there's any problems, it's management's problem. It's not your job to fix things for them.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with that, except it's not exactly, it's like, where do you go from there? It's like if you're going to quiet quit, then out of the workplace, you can do some organizing with your coworkers or comrades at other workplaces. Don't stop having the conversation. What people do is they quiet quit, and then they are apolitical. They don't engage in any of the news cycle. So then they think they're doing I'm cool because all my coworkers have no respect for hard work ethic. So because we're not getting paid, I understand why. So what is there to do about it? Well, we might as well all be lazy together. And then where do you go from there? You need to have some kind of actual solution, you know?
Well, may I say, yeah, like nobody seems to be willing to do a general strike, but I think a lot of that has to do with, I feel like we're doing something about it by informing people. Hopefully more people start falling into independent media and listening a little more. So I think, that has an effect, because only when you change the thoughts and minds of people are we going to stand up collectively. Jacqueline must be Nostradamus. She says, of course, I can't see. I need bifocals.
I'll read that.
Go ahead. Thank you.
Of course, the elitist media will blame the workers for asking for high pay raises, but they won't criticize landlords, energy companies, big pharma for price gouging and being the reason why workers have to demand big pay raises in the first place. That's right.
And we are going to touch on that a little bit, just with the port strike. But there's so many other places we could delve
Yeah.
into. Today
Yeah.
is the strikes, port strike.
Well, I thought it would be relevant to talk a little bit more about the port strike, considering if there's a possibility of it getting shut down, it might end up not being top of news cycle for very long. So this would be the time to talk about it. And then there's also the possibility of an agreement kind of being signed behind the workers' backs, which we've seen oftentimes with other union leaders. They put up this really big show when that deadline is met, that they're going to be real tough and they're going to fight for the workers. But time and time and time again, we see these union leaders, they tend to do like a sellout agreement instead of kind of push beyond that safe space, you know.
Well, before you do that, then may I kind of set it up, just to make sure people like understand the significance and importance of this strike.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Because I have like 4 things with the strike, and then I'll pass it to you, because I have like the upside, and it sounds like you have the downside.
Well, I have just a couple things on the strike. I got an article from Politico that's talking about the Dems and the GOP see a common villain in the port fight, and it's the foreign shippers.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. So I think I'm like showing the positive of what could happen, and you're showing, yeah, but what's probably going to happen is this. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I tend to be, I have a hard time being positive, right? It's like I see too many people.
No, that's important.
Positive angle around me, and I appreciate their positive attitudes. Without it, I would kind of be too depressed all the time, but I do have to put a brake on their positivity in a sense, because they seem to be losing touch with the ground a little bit and floating off into space.
No, absolutely. It's important. So I just want to make sure everybody isn't informed, like a whole circle of what's going on. So I just wanted people to hear the significance of why this is such a big deal for the United States. And I'm going to Fox News, y'all. Forgive me.
This is a thing we need to actually establish, like real independent media organizations that are essentially are like the new mainstream media as far as professionalism, but not mainstream as far as propaganda. Because we just have a whole bunch of like ragtag random people, at the moment.
But also, I think it's easier to not get like dinged if you share mainstream media. Fair use.
Yeah, well, that's what we were thinking about, talking about Africa Stream and the RT censorship and stuff. The more you try and, I guess, organize officially into an organization, the more that you get attacked for whatever positions that your organization takes. So
yeah, maybe we could do that next week. Maybe CIA informant can come on.
Yeah, maybe
that's his handle. That's not actually him.
I hope,
okay.
Anyway.
That's our hope anyway.
Americans are already struggling under the crushing weight of high prices on everything, especially food. And now bracing for the effects of a massive port strike. It's on. I'm Harris Faulkner. You are in the Faulkner Focus. Tens of thousands of dock workers from Maine to Texas are picketing for the first time since 1977. Their contract expired at midnight. They want big wages and guaranteed job protection from automation. because when things are automated, you need less human beings. The Port Workers Union chief negotiator, well, he has a lot to say and he doesn't hold back.
When my men hit the streets, from Maine to Texas, every single port will lock down. You know what's going to happen? I'll tell you. First this week, be all over the news every night, boom, boom. Second week, guys who sell cars can't sell cars because the cars ain't coming in off the ships. They get laid off. Third week, malls start closing down. They can't get the goods from China. They can't sell clothes. They can't do this. Everything in the United States comes on a ship. They go out of business. Construction workers get laid off because the materials aren't coming in. The steel's not coming in. The lumber's not coming in. They lose their job. Everybody's hating the longshoremen now because now they realize how important our jobs are.
Well, he's not wrong about getting us our stuff and how critical a role they play. We could really feel this. And how we got here, where is the White House? You fight when you have to at the White House to keep stuff like this from happening.
Hold on. Where's
So,
the
yeah.
White House? Where is the corporations?
That was
Can you speak?
as far as where's the White House. That's the whole big. Is Biden going to throw out that put into effect the Taft-Hartley Act or whatever and shut down the strike? Because
She's
with
going
the
to
authority-
mention.
And
she's
Biden's
gonna
already made
mention
a
that.
statement. He's made a statement,
That
I
he
guess, that
wasn't.
he's not going to invoke it because I don't
Which
think
is
he could.
shocking.
I thought he definitely would. I thought he already did to shut down the railroad strike.
He did.
Right.
That's
so-
why I was like, what's his end game with that? So Rondo, I'm not sure how this works. Some corporations, the beginning of their fiscal year starts in January. Some corporations, it starts in July. So I don't know who you're asking the beginning of the fiscal year is for, because for all these different corporations, it could be different. I'm not
I
sure.
thought- That reminds me, I was just looking at the Rosh Hashanah Wikipedia thing because I don't really know anything about a lot of those other more obscure kind of Jewish holidays and stuff. But I thought one of the things on the Wikipedia page it mentioned was that it was like the start of a new. I'm not sure if it was actually the fiscal year, but it was like the start of the new year for their agricultural, whatever. I should call up the page
So maybe
on it. But it
that's
seems
what he's talking about.
there used to be back before the calendar we have now, like the new year was like at this time of year, and then it's only after several hundreds of years or thousands of years that they switched it to December or and January or whatever. Because there's like 4 New Years in the Jewish faith. I guess they have like 4 different kinds of New Years. That doesn't make sense to me.
Oh, okay. So Jacqueline, I was speaking of like for tax purposes. So I'm not really sure. But speaking of Israel, Jacqueline made a good point, which we were going to touch on, but she already hit us with the real. This is very disturbing. They're gonna, even though they are like holding back all of these other what do you call those things? Those long the name escapes me. You know where Lindsey Graham was hiding all his coke. The barges, not barge, containers. Yeah, thank you. I don't know why. Like even the last time, I couldn't come up with the word.
Yeah, those containers are always where all the drug smuggling and human trafficking is happening. It's always in those
Yeah.
movies you've ever seen, right?
Right.
As
So,
far as answering her question here.
Yes. So she's absolutely correct. Even though they're stopping containers, this almost feels like a sanction on the American people, because how can you stop containers to get to us, but you're okay with letting shipments go to Israel? Huh?
I feel like if the ports are, I think the way I interpreted it, he said that the port workers are shut down. Like the ports are shut down when the workers aren't working them. So I don't think that they're sending anything out or bringing anything in for now.
No, they specifically mentioned that they were not going to stop shipments to Israel.
Right. Yeah. That's pathetic, right? That's what makes me. That's what I'm saying. We all every time they go for their strike actions, we're supposed to be all getting behind them and support them. But then on the most important issues, they tend to be bowing to the establishment figures' demands. Like that's something I don't feel like they have any obligation to let happen. That's because they actually have an obligation to stop that from happening. I would say that's the bigger lever that they're choosing not to manipulate than anything. What are you thinking to put more pressure on the ruling class than anything, or whatever? The imperialist, the needs of the imperialists for like economically speaking, for these wars to happen. Okay, like they're going to lose their hegemony, so they need to prosecute these wars. So you need to stop them from being able to prosecute those wars if you want to restore any kind of rationality to the global economy. But you can't confront the issue of imperialism, most people, because they tend to be anti-communist at heart. So
So Rondo is saying that the federal government's fiscal year runs from October to September 30th. So that's what he meant. Not corporate America. I came from corporate America, so I'm having that mindset. I just want to say hello to Old Man Barker. Black Life is here. She can't stay very long because she is going to a work event. But don't be doing a lot of texting because I know you're driving. Black Life. All right. Who else is here? And then of course Rondo. I didn't officially say hello. So do you want to hear some more of this, or
well,
how you feeling?
We're asking to check to see who's here. We should at some point get into the habit of checking to see if there's anyone on Rumble too. But yeah, we should figure out.
Yeah, we should.
As to
okay, I'm gonna play this and I'm gonna go look
okay,
because they don't comment. That's why.
on Rumble. I appreciate you.
Then hello. We do have traction on Rumble. I don't think it's during live. I think it's like after the fact.
Yeah.
But okay, let me go ahead and get back to this, and I'm gonna pull up my Rumble, and we'll see what's happening over there.
Okay.
Is Biden, is Kamala Harris, are they up to the fight? Let's take a look at the crisis that's upon us now, because this administration is almost famous for how many times they can let a crisis happen because things went on too long without leadership. Some 45,000 dock workers at 36 ports from Maine to Texas are on strike today. A JP Morgan analysis found this could cost the U.S. economy $5 billion a day. Major retailers to small businesses are also preparing for supply chain disruptions. We could see shortages of some critical items, medical equipment, vehicles, food, clothing. And if you think the inconvenience is going to be bad, imagine how you're going to have to pay for those few things that are coming through. Stuff's going to get higher if this goes on too long. Despite all of it, though, President Biden says, well, nothing. He's on the sidelines. The White House has said he would not invoke Taft-Hartley Act. That act allows the president to order an 80-day cooling off period. That gets us way beyond the Christmas holidays and into the new year for a fresh look at what the union and the corporations are fighting about. That would avert a strike at this point. The White House, well, playing dodgeball, you know how it goes. Let's watch.
Hey, everybody, it's Tony Robbins. Listen,
Oh, no, Tony. So I'm trying to figure out, okay, so you make the railroad strike go away. Okay, because they were supplying, I'm just confused. Okay, because maybe it's because they're supplying coal and stuff like that so people could get to work, maybe? But you're going to allow this
Make it sound like we're going to be paying so much for everything.
I don't know.
I think that people forget that before we pay for things, the capitalists pay for things. too before they push the cost down onto us. So a lot of that fear mongering about you're going to pay for higher costs. Well, no, you're going to pay for higher costs, and then you're going to try and push it on to me, and then I'm going to decide what I can and cannot buy based on what's available. But most of the loss for this kind of a problem falls on the capitalists because they're the ones taking on all that risk, like they like to say. Okay, so it gets real for them sometimes, but then as soon as it gets real for the capitalists, they turn around and they gaslight, or they act like it's getting real for you, but it has yet to kind of. And this is, I really kind of like it. Nobody really follows this thread far enough down to see, because they when they fearmonger you, they want you to think when everything gets too expensive, everything's going to become chaos, and no one's going to like that, and that's the end of the story. But what about what
Is this
happens
more?
after that
Oh,
boiling point? Sorry.
is this more like oh, they're gonna fearmonger us a little bit, and then they're like, all right, we've done enough. We need to see what Congress is doing right now. What bills are they pushing through right now? Because they're doing something, because they have us distracted
That's
with
always
this.
the thing, right? What are we missing? But then you
What
get
are we missing?
chasing your tail. You always think you never caught it.
I need to go on Open Secrets and check and see what's going on, or C-SPAN or something.
So as
Maybe that's
far
something
as
I'll do
what's
this
going on,
weekend.
what I was looking into for my articles on this, there's some
Wait,
things
we're not
going
done
on.
yet. We're not done yet.
Yeah, okay, but there's things going on in the supply chain or whatever. Alliances being made and remade, like broken and new alliances being made based on who's going to supply what parts of the world, I think. So
Okay. So this is going to take me about 10 more minutes, and then I'll give it over to you. Is that okay?
yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Um Meanwhile, Michael, Bad Life says she has a little bad cookies and mastermind in her, with a balance of sweetness of Abby doing Michael. She wishes she's all bad cookies and mastermind.
Oh, that's unkind.
I'm just playing. Okay, hold on. She's not here, so I'm adminning too. We're both adminning. So here we go.
Point would the president be willing to intervene? How long would he allow that to go on, and at what cost to the
I'm not going to
American
get into
economy?
hypotheticals. I'm not from here.
Would the president consider walking the picket line?
I'm not going to get into hypotheticals. We believe that collective bargaining is important here. We've always said that. We believe that both sides should come to the table in good faith and get to an agreement, a fair agreement.
She
I
said
feel
she
like
wasn't
you just
going to go
jumped into a
into it.
hypothetical right
Fox
there.
Business's Grady Trimble is at the port.
That's really strange, because like a follow-up question would be like, well, did you believe in that during the railroad strike?
Hypothetically,
You know what I mean?
you believe in collective bargaining, but in practice, you didn't. Was it a month or a year ago, like 6 months to a year ago, that they shut down the railroad strike? I forget exactly.
Right. So it's very confusing. Like, do you or don't you? Right now I was just showing.
But this
What
is where
happened?
everyone says that it's all about the big donors as far as the outcome of the election and stuff. Well, this kind of like bowing and scraping to the union workers, it seems a little bit like we have more power than is let on. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the
Then
chaos in the yard.
it matters.
These are all
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I just wanted, while we were talking, to show what else they're fighting against, which is they're trying to get job security, because they're trying to tamper the automation. See how much automation is going on over there?
Yeah, I had a
All
video.
this stuff is working by itself.
Was this the Rotterdam port? Because there's like a fully
I'm not sure.
automated. They have, I guess, a fully automated port that they built in Rotterdam, Netherlands, I think. So I'll call that video up.
We're getting very close to full automation, and I don't know how they're gonna stop it.
Yeah, but
Capitalism gets
that
what
start
it wants, what it wants.
yeah, but that starts to hint at our other topic too about cybersecurity threats. Because what do you think is like the biggest thing that everyone
Oop, you're cutting out there.
should be concerned about when
You're
it
cutting
comes
out there.
to automating full automation of something?
What is happening?
Oh, can you hear me?
I'm gonna leave and come back.
I'm having some connection issues. I'm not sure if you can hear me or thing. Can you hear me? I think it's me though. Well, hopefully you guys in the chat can see the video I'm trying to share. On my screen, I can't see if it's playing or not. So if you guys let me know if we're just kind of nothing's working for you.
I don't see it.
If you can hear me or see me, or
You can send
I
it
might
to,
have to leave and come back.
you can send it to me in private chat.
I was watching this video earlier. I think you can see like two workers
Okay.
in the entire thing, and you can't even see their actual bodies. They're driving trucks or something. But this entire massive facility is just empty. Like not a single human.
Hey, he said it's
I'm
not
having some
moving.
connectivity issues here, so I'm just gonna kind of keep talking, and I don't see anybody saying anything in the chat
Hey.
as far as if we're still here or not. But I'm gonna try stop sharing here. Oh, hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I think you might need to leave and come back, or you could give it to me in private chat because
Yeah,
it was.
my computer has been like running at 100%, like I told you last time. It's every week I must be doing too much research in between, going to too many tabs, and getting too much files, temporary files stored on my computer. But I'll be right back.
So my thing is, how you can't stop automation because the capitalism wants what it wants, and it is going to stop at. It's not going to stop because you have to. The shareholders want to make their money, and they will. And they have to make more dividends every year. And the only way to do that is to either move offshore, but you can't do that with ports. I mean, even in McDonald's, they have McDonald's that are almost fully automated in some cities. So they're testing that out as well. And even the ones that aren't fully automated, they have kiosks. Like you can't order from a person, you have to order at the kiosk, and then the people make your food and you pick it up. That's like it's going in stages. So, oh yay, Sean. Everybody give it up for Sean. That's wonderful news. Wonderful, wonderful news. We got to do it like this.
Hey,
There you
Sean.
go.
Good to hear.
Very good to hear,
Good to see you.
and very great to see you as well. Um,
Uh,
so I think that was. Oh, I had one last thing, I believe. Actually, so it was two things, but one I was gonna talk about what they're actually asking for, but we kind of discussed that. A lot of people are trying to vilify them, like they're asking their pay raises is too high. They're asking for 77%, but it's
oh,
actually
yeah,
it's over a long period of time.
yeah,
No, like 5, 6 years, something like that.
yeah.
And when I did the math of how much it would bring them to, it would just bring them to $125,000. But a lot of people are claiming they're trying to make $500,000 a year. What? It's just
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
ridiculous.
Someone doing actual like strenuous labor should deserve to make as much money as the doctor. What a ridiculous thought, you know? And I think they're really
Right.
like people's economic illiteracy. Like people in the restaurant industry don't even know what wage to ask for when we're thinking about what should we set our sights on for a raise. And then we're kind of
Well,
we get stuck in the thinking all we can get is a 2 or 3% raise for a couple of years or whatever instead of a 77% kind of thing because we have no
do you
bargaining
want
power.
do you want to go over how much they make now and what they're asking for? Because I have
Yeah,
that pulled up.
yeah, we can
Okay,
go if you got that. We can kind of
I
compare it
do.
to the cost of living and see if it's reasonable because
Okay.
nobody likes to support a bunch of people who are have unreasonable demands and are whatever being slackers and not working hard but pretending like they are, and that's not these kind of people. Okay, like I don't know them, but I highly doubt that the people who work at the ports, like dock workers, are the kind of like quiet quitters like you see in the restaurant industry. I appreciate some of the people coworkers I had in the restaurant industry. On the other hand, there's a lot of coworkers I had that are a bunch of like shitheads who are throwing other people under the bus and just trying to do drugs at work or whatever, and yeah, blame everything on other people, right? And then get paid more than you so they can pretend to have some kind of authority or whatever that they don't even exercise so they can suck dick for boss, right? Yeah.
Well, how much do dock workers make? What to know about wages amid ILA port strike? Okay. Members of the International Longshoremen's Association walked off the job on Tuesday amid demands to better pay in a contract that expired on Monday. All right. You guys know all this, haven't striked in 50 years, blah, 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 blah. We are
And that's the
doing,
other thing. We'll get all pissed off
you
at them
want,
for going on strike. They hadn't struck for however long, 50 years, right? They're
right?
capitalist, whatever, like working very loyally for the capitalists, biding their time for the moment when it actually made sense to bargain. They made a contract or whatever, it came to an end, and they just couldn't, like like adults or whatever, make an agreement among them because
Yeah.
people think they
And,
got leverage. They think they don't have to be nice to you. Like,
and may I also mention that the port, so it's 14 ports on the East Coast. I have your links, by the way. You just let me know if you want me to play any of them. But on the West Coast, they are in a different union, and they already got their deal. So that's why the West Coast is not closing down because they're in a different union and they already received a deal. But we have 14 ports on the East Coast. Okay, so oh, back in 2023 they got their deal. I didn't realize it was right here. Okay, so let me go down to how much do they make? What wages are they proposing? The wages
but
negotiated by the West.
yeah, the
Sorry.
West Coast. Sorry, from what I remember, the West Coast workers make more, right? Make
I'm
that ILA
I
workers. It said it right there. I should have not interrupt you. ILA workers make significantly less than their counterparts. Sorry.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, because the West Coast workers already got their deal.
Yeah.
Because they aren't on the same cycle because they're not in the same union. And hi Cobra, by the way. Hi Cobra. Okay. So the ILO contract that expired on Monday shows that the starting pay for dock workers is $20 per hour. Pay rises to $24.75 after 2 years. $31.90 after 3, and tops at $39 for workers with at least 6 years on the job. That's not a lot of fucking money for that
Sounds
hard
a lot to me.
ass
That's
labor.
wage, right? But yeah, that's not a lot of money.
That's not a lot of
Like,
money for hard labor.
keep in mind how much money that the billionaire owner, the foreign owner of the company that they're dealing that give the business to the ports or whatever, that the politicians are going to complain about, whatever. They make tons of money for just being the one who has the capital to start the business. That's basically
They make
work, right?
billions and billions and billions of dollars. So you could pay
Playing a
these people.
computer game. Because it's playing on the stock market is playing a fucking computer game at this point. So you make money for playing a game. All right, good for you, right? And it's playing games with people's lives, right? So
Can you read this part, because I just want to do the math on the final, because the amount of money you can make does cap. It's going to cap at 69 in the final year. So can you just start reading that so I could do the math to say
Yeah.
what that is per year? Thank you.
meanwhile, the ILA is demanding a 77% increase over the duration of the contract, with a $5 increase each year of the contract. Workers would make $44 the first year, $49 the second year, and up to $69 in the final year. In recent days, the U.S. Maritime Alliance proposed a smaller increase, nearly 50%, which the ILA rejected. They might claim a significant increase, but they conveniently omit that many of our members are operating multi-million-dollar container handling equipment for a mere $20 an hour. In some states, the minimum wage is already $15, the ILA said. Well, that'd be interesting,
Okay.
right?
So, go ahead. Say what you were going to say.
It would be interesting having these wages don't get caught, like they don't get so far ahead of minimum wage that minimum wage catches up to them, and then the port workers doing the exact same work at the port that the McDonald's worker gets paid for. That doesn't make sense.
Well, thank you, Sean. Sean, it's actually, that's close. It's actually $132,480. That's not a lot of money.
Not with the high cost of living. No.
Not now.
It's
No.
to kind of live that American lifestyle that our previous generations had, but if the trajectory of things keep going, like if you get hyperinflation in the States, that's not going to mean anything, because that's a real possibility. People just don't think it's real because there's never been hyperinflation in the States, so there never could be in the future. But it's a very real possibility.
The Great Depression.
Yeah, well, but I'm not sure. I'd have to go fact check myself on the spot, whatever, as far as is that actual hyperinflation in the States, because I knew that was hyperinflation in Germany at the time. But like, what's the threshold for hyper? You know, because like Venezuela inflation, like 2,000%. Like, imagine America like that. Like, we would not survive that.
So, I love how you said, imagine America like that, like we would not survive that. I love the way you said that, because most Americans, when you say America, they automatically think United States of America. But America's a continent.
Yeah.
And we have just been taught to be so arrogant that America is America.
Yeah. Imagine when Americans, the average American, can't afford coffee anymore, right?
There's Starbucks.
Yeah, they can't afford their coffee, they can't afford their Coke, they can't afford their pot, they can't afford their cigarettes. None of it. We are not prepared to handle a society where we have.
They're gonna melt down.
Like, we don't have like the discipline to deal with it. I'm one of those people. I will be very, very much struggling with this, right? But it helps when you have people in your life to go through that, right, for support. But
American privilege is a thing.
I saw this crisis hitting us, and I was like, shit, we got to do something. And then just the fact that I was like, fuck, this is bad, whatever. Everyone was like, oh, that guy doesn't. That guy's freaking out a little bit. Get away from the people panicking or whatever. They don't know what they're talking about, right? So I got
American privilege is very much a thing.
Yeah.
White
Anyway.
privilege is very much a thing.
Yeah.
People want to act like it's not, but it is. So I have one more video, and I'm not gonna play the whole thing. I couldn't find it, so I gotta go to TYT.
Oh, hey, Bryce, what's up?
But this is another example of the mainstream media trying to put the onus on the worker and not the corporation. Did I say hey Bryce already?
What's that?
If I didn't, Bryce is
hi,
here.
Yeah. Hey, what's up, Bryce?
If I didn't, I meant to.
Oh, I just got
Alright.
here.
All right. Okay, so Fox News reporter, I hope this man is genuine, but he's not that genuine, as Jacqueline pointed out, that this union is a Zionist union. So there's already red flags, but let's
we have
see.
to try not to jump to conclusions. We need to do our due diligence there and determine what it is that what are the contradictions with this particular person that would lead the situation in this direction or whatever that it goes in, right?
We didn't jump to conclusions for the railroad union president in the beginning either, and look what happened. But anyway, let's go ahead.
You are going to grind the economy to a halt here on the East Coast and the Gulf Coast.
Not us. They are. Don't spin it now because you're Fox News.
Not us. They are. That's right. Have the proper language, because I'm just a worker. I'm a worker bee trying to make a living. And the corporations are making billions and billions off of my back. So no, don't even try it, lady.
Yep.
Don't spin it now.
But are you worried? Are you worried that this
They have the
strike?
capital to settle this thing.
Are you worried that this strike is going to hurt the everyday American, the farmers that need to reach the export market? They're
Listen,
telling me that they're going to hurt through
Now
all
you
of
start
this.
to realize who the longshoremen are, right?
Ooh.
Nobody cares.
People never gave a about us until now, when they finally realized that the chain is being broke now. Cars won't come in. Food won't come in. Clothing won't come in. You know how many people depend on our jobs? Half the world.
Baby, he just hit her with the "I'm Rick James, bitch."
Yeah. But these
You remember that?
It's fighting words he's saying there, right? It's all like we're so important. We're like the half the world depends on us or whatever. You say that, now we got to see it's like this strikes with Iran and Israel or whatever. They're doing all this brinksmanship, right? It's like the more you start talking that threatening language, we're about to see some fucking shit fly, right? Like, but like, just get prepared for it, right? Don't fucking be a bitch about it, I guess, right?
Black Life says, why can't people fight for their own worth? Especially when people gave up their rights and voice to corporations. Bryce is right there with them. Rick James, bitch.
It's great that these guys are asking this question. Isn't this guy a known?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, same topic, right?
Okay.
Sean says, isn't this guy a known mobster? And then Jacqueline says, didn't the mafia have a strong connection with port workers and construction workers? It's just kind of like the more, like what this guy's saying, the more important, integral to the supply chain it is, the more likely you would think that the mobsters would have an interest in that too. It's just logic, right? Plain common sense. And then Cobra said, American unionists and the mob have always been in bed. It's why none of these unions can quote Lenin or Stalin. So this is the thing about when we advocate for increasing union membership and stuff like that, we have to be careful not to forget the topic of the mafia, where you have to be serious enough to keep in mind that there is a likely presence of a mafia in whatever union, if it's a large enough union. So how do you counter that? Because you're not going to be able to make any kind of a revolutionary left-wing kind of union that will actually fight or advocate for workers' rights if it's got mafia influence in it, because mafia is very well known to be tied in with the state, the capitalist state. in order to maintain this capitalist economic regime that's being imposed on us. Every time like the actual official powers have like lose the ability to use their official authority to do something, they do rely on their mobsters to do the dirty work for them. You just don't get a news report about it because the fucking journalist gets shot. So or buried.
So that
like drowned.
that was my like, oh, that's positive. Hopefully this all works out. Now here comes Michael.
Don't forget how difficult this actually is. Not to be fucking nihilist about it, right? I'm not trying to kill people to death. I'm just trying to say, like, you can't go around being naive and just like
Correct.
on white pills.
You cannot.
Yeah.
You cannot. Oh, should I read these while you're pulling your stuff up? I'll do that. So Great Life says, Great Life. Black Life is talking about a great life. We've watched these people get rich, live a great fucking life, and now they want to dictate your ability to do so. Man. All right. Which brings us to that beginning video. Nobody was here for that beginning video. We should probably play it again at some point. Then Cobra says they are great at stopping scabs. Yeah, crumbs on the table type shit. I actually like that part that the mafia brings. It's all the bad Nahilo is saying right now. That's the real issue. Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Well, if you're gonna be
unless the mafia's sorry, go ahead.
If you're gonna push the mafia out of the unions, you're gonna have to be pretty tough to do that. You might have to do some things that you might not want to do, kind of thing. You might become a person you might not want to become, kind of thing. You know. So, do we have those type of strong men that have integrity? And this is where we have an issue about it. When communists get real and actually do something like that changes people's lives, all of a sudden being called a fascist because what you're doing is kind of borderline, like has something to do with a little bit of violence somehow, or whatever, whether you caused it or not. It's like you're willing to defend yourself, you will always be vilified, you know? So, yeah.
You never cross a picket line. I don't care if you agree or you never cross a picket line.
That's just one of those things about if it were you, what would you want? Like that golden rule that people never follow? Like do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So that should be kept in mind if you are of a religious bent there when it comes to picket lines. So let me get
Confucius.
to this here.
Yep, go ahead. Go ahead, Confucius.
ILA reveals USMX members recorded billion-dollar profits in recent years. Union expects ILA members to benefit with generous master contract package. So this is the actual port workers website. So I think I was just going. I had this highlighted here. Maybe I should read this for some of this for context, but I just wanted to like highlight like the actual dollar figures that they're talking about, how much more that these companies are making that they could afford to give their workers, but they're hoarding it as profit. So this is from June 12th, actually, 2024. So the ILA means business in 2024 as it seeks to negotiate a new agreement before the current master contract expires. From its leader, Harold Daggett, to the tens of thousands of ILA rank and file members at ports from Maine to Texas, the union views this current contract negotiations with Maritime Alliance as a pivotal moment for them, knowing that the member companies who employ ILA labor have made massive profits in recent years while failing to reward the workforce responsible for these gains. So let's not forget what those recent years were. This was the COVID-19 pandemic supply chain madness that we all remember or have forgotten about because of all the madness since then. But they made a killing because of the pandemic. And workers were forced to go to work knowing they could get a virus and die. I'm sure many of them did actually die on the job so that people could have their products and their goods and whatnot. So
and may I just interject and say, like, that representative, he spoke about that, and he was talking about they were working like overtime, just working them to death to get products to us, and
Yeah.
and they were like, we expect to be paid back.
Yeah. Working that labor theory of value, right? Like the capitalists know that their value comes from the worker. That's why they make us work all that overtime and why they try not to pay you for it. But then when it comes time to admit it openly, all of a sudden their tongues are gone. So as tensions escalate between dock workers on the East and Gulf Coast and their employers, now fueled by accusations of corporate greed and encroachments on the ILA's historic work jurisdiction, the union is staunchly defending its traditional roles. We're kind of repeating ourselves. We already kind of know that. The union has obtained financial records of many of the companies who will be sitting across from the ILA at negotiations. USMX member companies' profits are enormous, amounting to billions of dollars, and the ILA will demand wage increase commensurate with these revenues. So it's not about 77% is a big fucking number. $82 billion, $62 billion is a big fucking number, okay? So keep it in context. For example, AP Mahler Maersk revenue for the 12-month period ending on September 30th, 2022, just for the 12-month period, was more than $82 billion. And this is revenue. You'll find that these companies, considering that they're private companies, don't even actually have to fucking disclose their profits. So you don't even get to know how much you're being ripped off. You're just supposed to assume that there's some kind of fairness going on at some level with no ability to verify it. So more than a 50% increase from the previous year. Since the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020, when the ILA kept ports open and commerce moving, AP Mahler Maersk earned nearly $62 billion in 2021, a jump of almost 56% from the previous year. In 2022, go ahead.
Well, may I just say, most companies will have a life insurance policy on you. So all those people that were overworked and died there during COVID, the company got paid.
Right.
For sure.
And we're talking about the dock workers right now, but there's other sort of worker that gets employed by these shipping companies, and it's the people who work on the boats themselves. And you want to talk about workers' rights at the dock? Let's talk about workers' rights on the boat, where you could literally get left in some ocean somewhere where you'll never be found again. What the fuck kind of workers' rights do you think they got on those boats? None. Yeah. Anyway, in 2022,
I didn't mean to throw you off.
No, that's okay. In 2022, APM Terminals revenues grew by 9% to $4.4 billion. This is the same company that the ILA proved earlier this week was utilizing an auto gate system that autonomously processes trucks with ILA labor, leading to the cancellation of a negotiation session scheduled for Tuesday, June 11th. Companies like Maersk are repeatedly trying to eliminate ILA jobs with the introduction of automation while raking in billions of dollars, said ILA President Harold J. Daggett. They are in for a rude awakening. This is our time, and the ILA will demand our ILA longshore workers get big boosts in their wages. So maybe I'll just steamroll through this a little bit. Mediterranean Shipping Company, MSC, reported revenues of $28.2 billion for the 12-month period, ending on September 30th, 2022. The ILA believes this figure is low because MSC, a privately owned company, does not have to disclose profits like a publicly owned company. MSC, a family-owned business, has acquired 200-plus ships since the ILA was notified that the 2M alliance is breaking up. So this is where I was mentioning there's some big changes going on with these shipping companies that are not being really in and following this kind of industry for the last several years. I really wouldn't be able to do a deep dive justice without doing a lot more research, but I would have to say that the alliances that are being broken and remade have everything to do with like the end of the American hegemony, and there are some companies that are siding with China and some companies that are going with the Europeans and the Americans and whoever else. Like who knows what's going on out there, right? So a subsidiary of MSC, and I found an article where I think it's this MSC group has made a recent deal with an Israeli shipping company. But A subsidiary of MSC, Terminal Investment Limited, has interest in more than 60 terminals, handles at least 60 million TEUs annually, and operates in 31 countries across 5 continents. TIL owns 50% of Port Newark Container Terminal and has recently invested in Trade Point Atlantic in Baltimore. TIL also has a significant presence in Los Angeles and Long Beach. Their estimated revenue for the year ending on September 30, 2022 is $1.3 billion, a figure the ILA believes is underestimated, considering TIL has recently partnered with BlackRock, a large private equity firm. What do you know?
Gosh, of course they have.
So yeah, just throwing that nugget in there
Of
for
course
you.
they have.
Costco,
Jeez.
yeah, it's because these guys are everywhere. But then when it comes down to fact checking them or whatever, they're not actually behind anything because they only have their finger in every pie. So Costco's revenue for the past 2 years was $63.22 billion in 2022 and $51.67 billion in 2021. I think this Costco is the Chinese company that they may be fear mongering over in the coming days.
Oh, COS. I had to make it bigger so I could see. I thought you were talking about cost.
Yeah, no, it's the Costco of the sea, I guess. It's some Chinese shipping company, but there's
Okay.
they got. I think this
I
one's.
got confused.
I'm pretty sure this one's a Taiwanese company. I was just looking at this today. So they've got the Evergreen. This is the Taiwanese one. They've got companies like from all over the world, right? In this shipping business, but then they're notorious for putting a different flag on the boat from where the company's registered and all that stuff. So good luck trying to figure out who's owning the shipping lines and all that shit. So there's some German companies around, some French companies. So
I heard it. I thought you were talking about the competitor, Super Walmart, Costco.
Yeah.
Because apparently, I mean, the last I heard about them is that they're really, really good to their workers. They pay them well, and they get benefits and.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of companies that do the old-fashioned capitalism that actually compensate their workers enough, but not every company can still do that. I don't know. I don't really know.
Oh, they could do it. It's just their shareholders are like, gimme, gimme, gimme.
Yeah. Well, some companies, they try and get the workers to become the shareholders, and then it's kind of like the WEF plan. Get all the stakeholders to be capitalists too, and then whatever. So I'm just going to finish this up, and then I wanted to talk about the Politico article about the politicians' take on everybody wants to be the port workers' friend all of a sudden, right? So
after you finish that one, you gotta take a pause because your chat is descending into anarchy, as Jacqueline would say.
Well, we're only on the port worker. Our title is Port Strike, Cyber Strike, Missile Strike. So we haven't gotten to the other two topics yet. So let's get rolling. So Costco's revenue, I read that part, with $51.67 billion in 2021. The owners of the closely held French shipping giant CGM received $3 billion in dividends this year as profits spiked to unprecedented levels. The payout to shareholders, including France's Rodolphe Saad and family, was disclosed in the company's financial statement. CGM, another privately owned company, earned $20 billion in the second quarter alone in 2022. Hapag-Lloyd's profit was $36.11 billion in 2022. Evergreen's profit was $20.7 billion in 2022, more than triple what it was in 2020. The ILA also learned that Evergreen awarded bonuses equivalent to 50 months' salary, or more than 4 years' salary on average, to their employees. We are not going to entertain any sob stories from employers during negotiations about a sluggish economy. So, yeah, that's from the International Longshoremen's Association. The other article I was going to share next is this one. But we'll take a look at what the chat has to say first. So.
Oh, you want to look at the chat first? You could just go there.
Well, I'm wondering how. All right, you guys
just being silly.
Don't need me to check in on you. All right, good.
No, we got some killers in our group. Keep going.
All right. Yeah. For the sake of time, might as
Oh, and
well.
wait. Well, can I just say hi to Kill Your Egregores? Because he's
Oh yeah.
entered
Hey,
the
what's
chat.
up? Always good to see you.
So apparently we have a raunchy group,
Well, that's good. That
which
means you guys,
which I like.
that means you guys are the real ones. You know, I don't like the people who keep all their thoughts to themselves. You know.
All right, go
Dems.
ahead. GOP.
Okay. Dems GOP see a common villain in the port fight: foreign shippers. So it's ironic that they're going to blame foreign capitalists for this, but they'll just call them shippers, right? So foreign shipping companies that dominate
Wow.
seaborne trade draw bipartisan criticism as U.S. ports grind to a halt. This is from October 2nd, I think yesterday. Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump are so far taking the same side in the strike by East and Gulf Coast longshoremen, speaking up for the American workers against the foreign-owned shipping companies that control ports in the U.S. These kind of statements are always loaded full of fact-checking. It's not simple. Like, you can't just say that the foreign-owned shipping companies control the ports in the U.S. There are some ports that are kind of owned by American companies, and then there are some ports that are controlled by the foreign-owned shipping companies and whatnot. But it's never so simple as a statement like that. Whatever, these statements are always misleading, right? So the fact that major political leaders from both parties are taking aim at the European and Asian-based shipping companies represents an early political victory for the dock workers. Their union has portrayed the strike that began this week as a necessary step to get better wages from exploitative conglomerates that bring goods in and out of the country. The messaging is also just the latest sign that both parties see the support of blue-collar workers as crucial to the outcome of November's elections. I think it's very difficult for them to do an America First argument and then take a shit on the dock workers, right? So American workers.
You know what? You think that's why it's too close to? I'm sorry, it's too close to the election, so maybe that's why he's not invoking the Taft Act, because Americans' memories are like very short.
Yeah.
I mean, hold on. I'm sorry. I need to change my language. North Americans' memories are very short.
Yeah, we're like goldfish, you know. We don't remember what happened yesterday. I can be like that too. It has a little bit to do maybe with some of the substances we use sometimes or whatever, but it's not just that. It's also, I think, the people who want to be apolitical and don't want to learn anything, don't want to remember anything, because that would entail learning something. So, yeah. And then the people who do learn stuff, whatever, like me or whatever, are a little too tempted into drinking to forget. So American workers should be able to negotiate for better wages, especially since the shipping companies are mostly foreign flag vessels, including the largest consortium, One. Trump said in a statement on Tuesday evening. The Singapore-based One is the sixth largest shipping company in the world. I did a brief little looking into them, and they're like only started in 2018, and they're somehow the sixth largest shipping company in the world. So I feel like that's the new name of the old.
That totally checks out.
Yeah, the old. Striking dock workers are enjoying the confluence of a labor-friendly Democratic White House and a GOP nominee trying to court union voters weeks before an election. Trump's support for this strike contrasts with his suggestion in August during an interview on X with Elon Musk that striking employees should be fired. And the White House's support for this strike contrasts with their shutting down of the rail workers, as we've mentioned. Harris also sounded a message sympathetic to the port workers on Wednesday, despite the risk that an extended strike could trigger price spikes and commodity shortages that would imperil her chances of defeating Trump. Another thing that occurs to me as I read this just now, they might be happy to let this be a scapegoat for them. Now they can blame the dock workers on the inflation that is inevitable about to rock.
That was already inevitable because
is
BRICS
already about to slam us, right? Because
BRICS is coming out with their is coming out with their monetary they're rolling out.
I can't
say dollar. I don't know the name of it yet.
their currency.
But their
yeah.
currency, yeah, they're rolling it out very soon.
I think it's
So
a backed currency. Yeah.
yep.
Or it's
So
actually, I think it's a basket of currencies, to be very correct. But
that's a really good point. See what happens when you like talk about it out loud? Like I find it easier when you talk about stuff out loud because for some reason it just it brings up other thoughts in your head. So we have a couple of theories here because there has to be a reason that he's not invoking that Taft Act because it's not because he gives a fuck about those workers.
yeah, but because this inflation, like the oil prices, gas prices are about to go up through the roof again, and then they never really properly resolve the housing crisis. Like it's worse in Canada, but there's housing crises like in all the Western countries, and so the more that they just dropped the interest rate 50 basis points or whatever, so there's flooding the economy with cheap money all over again. So the recipe for the inflation or stagflation or whatever that we had just 2 years ago or whatever, we're right back to the beginning of that. And so now it's very convenient to say, oh, look at these people who like, and I think there was articles we were reading that were saying that they just got inflation under control and now these workers are ruining it, right? So I think they kind of looking for a scapegoat.
And Michael, if you will enact the Taft Act when there wasn't a crisis happening in the country, why wouldn't you invoke it when not the whole East Coast, but most of that area got slammed with hurricanes and they don't have access? Like everybody was like running to the stores to get food if they could. Now they're like, they can't even move.
Yeah.
They're like stuck. So why wouldn't you do it now in an emergency situation?
Yeah,
you don't pass the smell test.
There would be some sympathy where people would say, we're in an emergency already. So if they're going to go on strike and we're in an environmental disaster or whatever, we need people to get the supplies here because people are going to like die or whatever, perish, right? So
and you're expecting sympathy from, they couldn't even give us universal health care during a pandemic. That was a national medical emergency. If not then, when? Right? So yeah, you expected too much out of these motherfuckers. They not gonna then And that's starting to make me side eye this union rep because I'm getting a little beside myself because this is a different show about manipulating the weather and stuff and what they found in North Carolina and in those areas that they want. So this might have been be a psyop.
Yeah, that might be a conspiracy theory, might be a psyop, and that's where before we speculate too much, we'll come back to after we looked into it a bit more, maybe. But I'm also thinking,
yeah, but we could always speculate.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong, especially if you allow people to know that it's just speculation. Otherwise,
it's just a speculation. We're trying to figure shit out.
Because a lot of people forget that what people are saying is speculation, especially if they haven't bothered to remember to point it out. But one more thing to speculate on was the tariffs. Trump's legendary now with his, I'm going to hit everybody with tariffs, massive tariffs, if they're not going to listen to me or whatever. I think trying to think of what company was threatening to move to Mexico, and then he's threatening to put a 200% tariff on them if they did or whatever. I think it's the Deere, or like the farm workers I was looking into earlier, John Deere or whatever, right? So I think maybe there's also a little element of the unions are antagonizing these companies that they may have to slap with tariffs in the near future. So they're happy to have the unions fight on their behalf a little bit against these foreign capitalists. So there's a lot to keep in mind, I guess, right?
There's a lot to keep in mind. We're just trying to figure shit out. Fair use. We're just two regular people putting shit together. and
Yeah,
working
and
from the
then
premise that our government is lying to us, and we have to figure out how.
this is where, when we combine our perspectives, whatever, many hands make light work. Where we share our thoughts with you, and then you think of something interesting to share with somebody else, and then before you know it, we've got a bona fide theory working out for us. So
A
let me see.
conspiracy
Yeah,
theory.
this one in particular, it's like when it comes to politics, every theory is a conspiracy of sorts, I guess. So I don't know if I needed to read this whole article here.
Oh, you're not okay. Hold on. I gotta change the layout. Okay,
Uh,
there you go.
we good? Okay.
Yeah,
So I'll just read a bit
you can
more,
make it
and
bigger
we'll see
though.
where we come
If you
to
could
stop.
make it
So,
bigger, that'd be great
oh,
for the audience. Although I
is
don't
that
know
good?
what they're talking about in the chat. Yeah, that's better. Thank you.
Oh, we'll have to tune in a
They're
moment to
having
see.
they're having a party in the chat.
Well, enjoy. Let me just keep reading so you guys have something to talk over. So
Yep,
the
yep.
vice president said the strike by the International Longshore Association is about fairness. Also emphasized shippers outside the U.S. locale. Foreign-owned shipping companies have made record profits and executive compensation has grown, she said in a statement. The longshoremen who play a vital role transporting essential goods across America deserve a fair share of these record profits. When do you ever hear them say that about any other business, right? So that's very suspicious. But they want these people to
Very,
fight their trade war for them, right? So
very.
Harris also dismissed Trump's pro-union rhetoric as an empty promise. President Joe Biden has similarly criticized shipping companies for not sharing enough of their recent record profits with workers. How about we criticize the banks for not sharing enough of their profits with the people who keep their money in the bank, right? But anyway, said his administration is monitoring any price gouging activity that benefits foreign ocean carriers during the strike.
No,
So
they're.
you don't care about price gouging activity if it works into your trade war, right?
But Michael, if they cared about price gouging, why care now when they've been doing it for the last 2 years? Like the last two, we've covered this.
Yeah.
I don't know if we
No.
covered it on civilian discourse or here, but how these companies are like, oh yeah, we're gonna roll back prices. So that means you could have had that you were gouging and now you're trying to give us relief. Oh, okay, whatever.
Yeah. They've been gouging for years. They will continue to gouge for years, and they'll just, it's only gouging when my enemy does it. It's so obvious and transparent, but somehow people want to believe stuff. So
And the more these corporations have a monopoly, the easier it is to price gouge. That's why it's supposed to be a free market. You're not supposed to allow all of these mergers to happen.
yeah, but
That's
then
not what a free market is.
and then when the people get enough power that they can price gouge at will, they tend to forget that that's doing real damage to the real economy, right? Where you can get away with that forever so long, but you're actually hollowing out the actual workings of the economy, right? Like the people who cannot afford to pay those prices that you gouge them with now cannot provide the labor that will provide the profit in the future because you gouge them in the present. Always looking for that short-term gratification, okay? So
Yeah,
the
Miss.
chickens
I
were
need
are
to.
coming home to roost now.
Yeah, I need to.
Go ahead.
I need to review my understanding of the free market again because maybe that is how the free market works. They could just.
Yes, this is what happens. You read into all this stuff and you're like, you start to second guess your own understanding of economics. Like you're never done reading. There's always more reading material. So at some point you're going to have some confidence in what you know, because you're going to start to forget stuff too.
Yeah.
There's
I'm
only so
starting
much
to forget
room.
stuff.
There's really only so much room. People forget that you don't have a limitless mind or whatever. It's not an infinite house that you can store things in. So
Exactly. And I like to drink.
yeah. Well, there's other things like the meaning of life is not to learn, is like whatever it is. Nobody really knows what the meaning of life is, or whatever. But if you try and pick one single meaning, then you tend to have flawed understanding of whatever it would be. So
Okay, I have that on my list. We have to go
I'm not
back and review that.
I'm not sure how much more I should read. Maybe I'll just read this paragraph here. The shipping industry is a vital link to world markets that remain in the hands of foreign companies. Since the 1980s, almost all American ocean carriers have been sold to foreign companies or gone out of business. As a result, the U.S., which has its roots as a collection of maritime colonies centuries ago, has lost its place as a maritime leader over the past several decades. I think there was a part, of the more than 40,000 cargo ships in the world, fewer than 200 are based in the U.S. The business is also heavily concentrated because the largest companies, all foreign owned, control the lion's share of the market. So that's a big issue as far as like a weakness of America. I think their capitalists have not been, they don't own the shipping lines wherever they sold the means of production to China. They sold the shipping industry to foreign owners because they thought their dollar hegemony was enough, and now they're really fucked. So
And because of NAFTA, now we don't have any import. We don't have any. I'm sorry. Now we mostly import everything. So good luck, North America. As
not
you in danger, girl.
not to be too much dooming and glooming, right? But people didn't listen when there was time to avoid all of this crisis and stuff, where every time you try and bring up communism again, people still treat you like you're talking about something that's already failed, that nobody's like, it's a waste of time to speak about because nobody's ever going to believe in it anymore. So, but it's, so then you can't talk about the problems that are getting made worse in front of our eyes, because the problem is the crisis of capitalist, whatever, accumulation of profit. So yeah.
So that's the first strike. We got 2 more strikes.
Yeah.
I wanted to. I felt like this was important in the midst of what these 3 strikes are, because this just happened at the World Economic Forum, where John Kerry, that gross blob of a human being with a punchable face. Wait, before you go to that, I don't know if you heard. Yeah, don't get that close to my face. I'm pretty, but not that pretty. I'm pretty, but not that pretty. Thank you. I just wanted to. I don't know if you heard about this yet.
What's that?
I don't know if you've heard about it yet. I didn't tell you about it because I like when we get our like initial reactions. So
I thought I saw him saying something. Maybe when I was watching
some bullshit. I couldn't find
I
it.
didn't even know.
I was
because I turn the TV on in the morning,
Okay.
and then sometimes I'll watch what I watch, and then it'll auto pick something, and then somebody's talking. I don't even know what the hell it's talking about. But anyway,
I was scouring like the World Economic Forum website. I was scouring YouTube to find the original. All I could find were like people talking about it. I don't know how they got the goddamn original video, but I just decided to do a news segment video and not a commentator, so we could we can comment on our own.
How frustrating is it? You know how they're always like getting copyright strikes because you can't properly source something. But if you actually try and find the original source, you couldn't, even if you wanted to. What the hell?
I'm trying to figure out how they found it. I guess because their channels are bigger. I don't know. Maybe they have access. I don't know.
Probably
but anyway, or they pay for it. Well, I ain't got no money. So. Okay, so I'm just gonna go through it really quickly, and then I'm gonna go back just to the John Kerry parts. Is that okay? It's only 3 minutes and 45 seconds long.
Yeah. No, I just
Okay.
called up that article that I did because that's what I thought was the way to segue into the cybersecurity topic, because there was a maritime cybersecurity incident like in April. So.
Oh, okay. Okay. Do you want to do that first? We could do that first. It's just that
Well,
we
you
could
got
do
this
that
call
first.
up. It's like 3
Okay.
minutes. I just go with this, so it's all good.
Okay. So this is just I'll see you on the other side.
Polls indicate Americans' trust in the media is at an all-time low. It's one of the rare issues Americans agree on across the political aisle. The right often calling much of what the mainstream media reports as fake news, and the left categorizing much of the reporting from the right as a disinformation problem. But how to resolve it remains partisan. The issue coming into the spotlight recently after John Kerry, former President Obama's Secretary of State, called the First Amendment a major block in having any sort of accountability on facts from the media. His remarks highlighting the debate over free speech and controversial efforts to police fake news or disinformation.
You know, there's a lot of discussion now about how you curb those entities in order to guarantee that you're going to have, you know, some accountability on facts, et cetera. But look, if people go to only one source and the source they go to is sick and, you know, has an agenda and they're putting out disinformation, our First Amendment stands as a major block to the ability to be able to just, you know, hammer it out of existence.
Kerry saying the issue of disinformation is one unique to democracies because there's no one leader with the sole power to define what facts really are. But Kerry saying the election in November could create change, depending on who wins Congress and the White House.
What we need is to win the ground, win the right to govern by hopefully having, you know, winning enough votes that you're free to be able to implement change.
Kerry's words made headlines across right-leaning news outlets, while left-leaning news outlets are largely leaving his comments out of their news coverage. Something you can see on our website using our Media Miss tool, which highlights when stories
All right, girl. Oh wait.
That's enough, Pace.
No, I think
are being underreported by left or
right.
right-leaning news outlets. Kerry's comments have led to the resurfacing of a similar sentiment by progressive Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. In 2021, in an Instagram Live video, she also called for a restraint on the media.
We're going to have to figure out how we rein in our media environment so that you can't just spew disinformation and misinformation. It's one thing to have differing opinions, but it's another thing entirely to just say things that are false. And so that's something that we're looking into.
Media mistrust and the search for a solution is nothing new for this nation. Flashback to 1949. Lawmakers backed what was called the...
Sorry, go ahead.
How do you tell the difference between a genuine disagreement over people's opinions and who's intentionally spewing misinformation? You can't always tell the difference. So that's why it's important. And you can't just go after the First Amendment by itself. You're calling the entire Constitution a block to whatever progress you think is,
One more minute.
Lawmakers backed what was called the Fairness Doctrine out of concern that lawmakers backed. Flashback to 1949. Lawmakers backed what was called the Fairness Doctrine out of concern that three main networks then, NBC, ABC, and CBS, could misuse their broadcast licenses to set a biased public agenda. Their fix? The FCC enacted the Fairness Doctrine, requiring media to cover controversial issues of public importance and required them to present both sides to a story with differing viewpoints. The doctrine stayed in effect for decades until President Ronald Reagan's administration abolished it in 1987 over concerns it violated First Amendment rights. Thanks for watching our news update. For more stories that matter to you,
Okay.
Download the Straight Arrow News mobile app today.
That's kind of a waste of time because 6 companies own the whole media, whatever.
Okay, I'm gonna start with a laugh because we need one. Isn't oh, I thought he said, isn't he the wife of the Heinz fortune? Yes, his wife is the descendant of the Heinz fortune. Yes.
So he's a
So
ketchup king there.
so now I just wanna now, so the reason why I wanted to bring that up is because when we were talking about conspiracy theories, they're talking about like just controlling the narrative of what is being said. So now now that we played it all the way through, I just want to play John Kerry's parts. And Jacqueline, I won't torture you with AOC again, okay? We get the point. Okay.
Well, she's
So
not
let me
going
just
in.
play.
Not anytime soon.
Oh my gosh. So okay, so let's play
Having
this
any
first
sort of
one.
accountability on facts from the media. His remarks highlighting the debate over free speech and controversial efforts to police fake news or disinformation.
You know, there's a lot of discussion now about how you curb those entities.
Yeah, that's ironic. There's a lot of discussion.
Curb those entities.
There's a lot of speech about how to get rid of free speech. This is the paradox that they always run into. Sorry, go ahead.
So who are the entities?
Yeah.
You and I, Heartland's media, like independent media. That's the entities. How do you shut them the fuck up? That's what he's saying.
Well, this is why people piss me off or whatever. This is we were talking about the Canadian commie before we went live or whatever, right? One of the things that we disagree on is he doesn't like the American free speech as it is, like the laws and stuff. And I'm like, that's one of the things that American, like, you guys got a whole bunch of shit I disagree with as far as the way your system's set up. But I think that one thing you guys got good is free speech. You guys got that right compared to a lot of people, a lot of countries who have really abysmal free speech laws and rights. So maybe your free speech laws aren't perfect, and people can get into that if they're going to have a healthy debate about it. But I don't think the answer is to make free speech less free, you know?
Well, his problem is that free speech used to be in a bullhorn in the streets. We didn't have technology like we have now.
Yeah.
Right? So those 3 companies, thanks Reagan, were able to curb free speech and show it as they wanted it to be seen.
Right. Yeah.
Now that we have social media, the free speech is just run rampant and they don't know what to do about it.
Like supposedly, where this is where I find that there's a similarity with my speech being suppressed on something like Twitter, where allegedly it's social media that's given us this extra reach with our free speech, but it's only given selectively, where if you use your speech to say certain things, then they will use their money to throttle people that they choose. And you won't really know because you just think that it's like that you're just not popular or whatever, because there's no way to look into their private their rights or whatever to keep private, you know.
So that is like we're getting into the territory of African Stream, because they were banned by YouTube. YouTube, what was it? I forgot. It was 3 places. Oh, Instagram and Facebook.
Okay. Yeah.
So so even though we do have social media, like we aren't big enough. They don't give a shit about what we saying. So we could talk. But let us get big enough where we have an influence. Then things may change, you know what I mean?
Well, now free speech, they maybe have to update it in the sense that it's not just about your speech; it's also your right to be heard. That's what is really the social media had that big impact. Where if you can't be heard, then you can't really say what you need to say or whatever. You can't have a conversation if nobody hears your voice in the woods. Did you really say something, kind of things?
That's a really great point. So I just want to, so Old Man Barker, yeah, Clinton did privatize, but it started with Ronald Reagan. So let's not forget that. But you're right about that because they're private companies, they have a right to say what, like what their rules are or whatever for free speech. But once you start monetizing people's ability to make money on these private companies, doesn't that start to become a public utility? Or
it basically
like you can't really
a legal gray area, but then they maintain the fiction that it's a black and white distinction between private and public.
If you can't run your business without social media anymore, it's like virtually impossible. Then it should be like the telephone, a public service. So we'll see what happens with that.
Because it's social media, I feel like the word social is standing in for the word public there, because it's not social media unless it's public.
Unless it's public, yeah. How could it be social and private? Unless it's a private club.
Because you have your right, if people are trying to take your words spoken in a private setting and they're trying to make it public in a way that's like without your consent, then I think there's some privacy issues there, legalities there. But if you put something out into the public, if you go outside and you say something as if you're sitting in your own home or whatever, then you're under different like regimes as far as the speech laws, right?
And this is another reason why Congress, they don't need to be that old. You don't even understand you don't even understand technology like that. Some might, but
But then free right, you got surveillance and all this. I was just thinking about, you can go outside and say something public and say something private inside, but now we're inside right now, in our own homes, online, in the public. So private and public is the same place now in a sense, right? And so the corporations have the right to surveil us or whatever, or they don't really have the right, but they've claimed it as if they do, to take all of our stuff that we say freely in our privacy of our own homes. When I'm not broadcasting live, when I'm just watching TV, when they program things, I think Kit talked about it a couple months ago, or whatever, they've implemented technologies that will literally listen to people going about their business, inside or outside or whatever, and they will record you like without your knowledge, and then they will use your speech that they recorded without your knowledge freely to do whatever they want, to make whatever profit. So that's not okay.
Yes, Jacqueline, I agree. They could probably lobby the government to get those websites closed down, and that's why TikTok is a big ass problem for them, because they're not in their circle, in their oligarchy. So let me just I'm just gonna go over John Kerry's parts, and then I'll be done, and we can move on. So
in order to guarantee that you're going to have some accountability on facts, et cetera. But look,
when he says in order to guarantee you'll have some accountability on facts, what he really means is in order to guarantee. Oh, he's down, so I'm gonna take him down. Take him down, and I'm gonna do this. What he really means is in order to guarantee that we can control the narrative. Because they're not factual. We already know this. Didn't Rachel Maddow get sued? Didn't Tucker Carlson get sued? And what did they say? Well, everybody knows that's just entertainment. That's not real news. So you have no standing in your lawsuit. So what? Well, fuck, I'm entertainment too. How about that?
That's
okay. You're back. Okay, let me change the layout. Sorry.
I'm just gonna have a cigarette here. So, but that's part of the issue where if we want to be, like, say something educational or news and politics, you're not allowed to to be a serious pundit, even if you're trying to be serious, they're forcing us to categorize ourselves as, what do you call it? Satire and entertainment and stuff. I never really wanted to be an entertainer or whatever. I wanted to be more like get to the root of the matter. What is really going on and stuff. And you can't do that if people do the credentials fallacy on you or whatever. Only a journalist is allowed to know what's happening today. This is also known as the no true Scotsman fallacy. Okay, I'm done with there. Okay.
Okay. Say it again. No true what fallacy?
No true Scotsman's fallacy. So the way to remember it, it's when people say you're not a real communist because you haven't read the Communist Manifesto or whatever. Like, you're not a real Scotsman because you don't have a big bushy red beard, you don't have hair on your chest, and you don't drink whiskey. So you're not a real Scotsman. It's like,
okay.
Logic. It's not true, but people use that one all the time. They say you're not a real journalist because you didn't go to school to become a journalist. But if you are an autodidact and you learn the same skills in your own time and you teach yourself how to do the job, okay, if someone teaches you how to ride a bike or whatever, then you know how to ride a bike. But if you teach yourself how to ride a bike, you still know how to ride a bike. You're not disqualified from riding it because you didn't get taught by somebody else or whatever. There is such a thing as being just as qualified as somebody else without having actually officially acquired those skills through the route that everyone else did, right?
Exactly. Rondo says what credentials are necessary for you to be a journalist. You know, like when I was living in New York City, I was considered to be press. You know how I got that job as press, where I was on red carpets at events, interviewing famous people. I self-taught myself how to be a videographer and an editor. I created a TV show that I put on public broadcasting in various cities in this country. Now I'm press. I never went to school for that. But if you take the time, like journalism isn't that researching?
Yeah.
Well, it's researching and
researcher and a journalist. There's two different professions there. So.
Okay, well, that's the difference between a reporter. Doesn't a journalist research what they're speaking on?
Well, I think what we're getting into, there's a debate as to whether or not a journalist has to be try and be objective, and then people disagree by saying, well, a true objectivity is impossible, so a journalist should not strive for absolute objectivity. They should strive for fairness and accurate reporting, disclosure of bias,
Yeah, I don't know. Like maybe you have a team and they do the research for you, and I don't know. It doesn't matter.
You don't need to be a one-man band to be a journalist,
Now we're getting into semantics.
We talk about talking heads, right? Where is a person a journalist if someone did all the research for them and then they are the one who does the broadcast? And I think that's still a job in that, like, there's a little bit of, like, as far as autistic people are good at doing research, but maybe not good at presenting on camera and stuff. So there's what we were talking about, like emotional and intellectual labor. There are different types of labor. So there's a little bit of emotional labor that goes into being on screen and stuff, more so. That's difficult for people who are good at the intellectual labor, right?
Thank you, Jacqueline, for doubling back. All right, let me keep going with him because it's only like 2 spots, and every like sentence he says, it pisses me the fuck off. Okay, so.
But look, if people go to only one source and the source they go to is sick and, has an agenda and they're putting out disinformation, our First Amendment stands as a major block to the ability to be able to just, hammer it out of existence.
Carrie saying the issue.
Ooh, well, that was a word.
But he's talking about hammering it out of existence as if that's the right thing to do. Like a good example would be the monuments that people are asking, because they're monuments to Confederates and slavers and stuff. Why should they be in the public sphere? They shouldn't necessarily be revered the way that they are, but should you take those monuments and destroy them and melt them down
Yes.
and actually remove
Yes.
history? I think in some
No.
sense,
Yes, you should. No.
you need to
No.
have some kind of
No.
a history that documents what this
No.
was.
No.
And then if you're going to destroy evidence, you need to have evidence of what was destroyed, in a sense.
No, sweetheart. Let me school you real quick.
All right.
Yeah. Wait, sweetheart was condescending. I apologize. I just felt that in my soul. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
Okay.
It's a sensitive topic.
The reason why we should destroy them, or if we don't destroy them, we could put them in a museum
That's what
and
I said.
have proper context about them, because they were erected to when you put a monument up, it's supposed to be someone of nobility, a noble person in history.
Yeah.
Okay, like someone you're supposed to have reverence for.
Yeah.
And the what were they called? The Daughters of the Confederacy. They purposely erected all those statues to intimidate Black people who had just gotten, who were free,
Right.
to let them know who, so they should not be around. If we're supposed to be moving forward, that's like having Nazi generals statues up all over Germany. You wouldn't want, like, nobody would condone that.
They shouldn't be
So-
in the public. That's where I was trying to make an analogy as far as the free speech being in the public needing to be removed. Maybe another
Oh,
example
okay.
is like
I'm
a
sorry, I got
concentration-
triggered.
Like maybe we'll use a different example to see if that fits better. Like the
No.
concentration camp. They don't want to, now that they've been they keep the actual concentration camp from the 1940s intact so that people can witness what it was. And then would people argue that we should make better use of that land and eradicate the evidence of history there because it's uncomfortable and can be potentially twisted into some kind of misuse or whatever?
Yeah, I got triggered. They can
It's
go
a
to the
tough-
museum.
we'll revisit that topic because that's a controversial topic, right?
It ain't that goddamn controversial.
No, but it's like we're talking about free speech, and then what people, because people say if you're gonna say stuff like if you're gonna be like an overt Nazi with your speech, you don't deserve to have free speech, and that's always difficult to defend. To say, well, how do we know if people's are a Nazi if they're not allowed to?
Actually, the ACLU defends the KKK's right to have protests and all that kind of stuff. So
It always
free
ends up
speech,
being
free speech means free speech. Now, it doesn't mean you consequences of your free speech. It don't mean that.
exactly.
It just means you have the right to say it.
Yeah.
Now, you also have the right to get your ass whooped if you meet the right person on the wrong
Well,
day.
people try and say you don't have the right to kick somebody's ass no matter what, whatever. I feel like there's these laws because people want to advocate for censorship against their enemies, and then their own advocacy for the laws of censorship always will get turned against them. So as much as I don't want to defend the free speech rights of Nazis and Zionists, by taking away their free speech, I will also taking away my own free speech, and I don't think that makes any sense. So that's, I guess,
Correct.
my position on that.
And as like Sean mentions, and you're taking away your ability to see who your enemy is.
Yeah.
Please keep talking so I'll know.
Yeah,
Not to
I
fuck
don't want
with you.
everything to become covert. Then you have to guess and second guess and triple guess what everyone's doing, and no one ever gets to disclose what they truly think or feel because we're all afraid we're going to get canceled and stuff, and we can see that's already happening.
Yep. So we are free speech. We love free speech here. So this is why this is very egregious, because they're trying to control community and like in the beginning, a lot of people didn't hear that video I showed of the dude that was thank you, Rondo, exactly. That it doesn't negate the fact that you could fuck around and find out. But please have your peace. Hi, Bella. Bella. Oh, she looked. She thought it was you. So anyway,
She might be
this is
getting
why
low.
I wanted to show this because I forgot what I was going to say. So let's go to the next part. And that's the last part of what he's saying specifically, and then we can move on to the next strike because we're down strike one.
What we need is to win the ground, win the right to govern by hopefully having, winning enough votes that you're free to be able to implement change.
Kerry's words made headlines.
What we need to is win the right to vote so we could stop all these motherfuckers from saying stuff against what we really want them to believe. That's basically the translation.
But also, he's nice and vague and open-ended when he wants to implement change. Well, we don't want to talk about the specifics of the change that you want to implement because people might object to what you want to put into action there.
Well, you remember CJ was very good about deciphering, like how he said we have to remove those entities. What the hell is an entity? You mean like me? You?
Yeah. They always have to leave it
we
open.
are the entities.
Yeah, they have to leave it open enough to reinterpretation for that word entity to be able to be applied to whoever they need it to apply to. This is where we're not covering what Julian Assange's interview that he just had, or a press conference with the
When he tried to kill him.
Whatever. Yeah, talking to the Europeans who just imprisoned him or whatever. But he was saying that the law is basically, I'm paraphrasing or whatever, but the law has become kind of useless because they can just reinterpret the law to mean whatever they want it to. And this gets into my criticism of legal positivism, where what is right and wrong does not matter because they've decided that what matters is what is legal and what is not. And they don't have to justify what is legal or not legal based on what is right or wrong. They just have to justify it based on what they believe should be made legal according to their beliefs, which is stupid. But what do you do to get rid of legal positivism as the dominant theory in Western legal systems? What do you replace it with? So,
What a conundrum. Yes, Michael does have a big brain.
I spent all that time feeding my brain to the rest of me or whatever. I didn't go to the gym. I let myself get a big belly or whatever so I could get a bigger brain.
Well, now that you got that big brain, maybe do a couple of sit-ups.
My other muscles could use some love too.
Uh-oh. Oh my goodness. Ladies.
Oh, that's I didn't realize what I was saying.
Okay, so you ready to show yours? You were supposed to be setting it up.
I'll show you mine. Show me yours.
If you show me yours.
So this was a major maritime cybersecurity incident exposes vulnerabilities. That's a nice picture.
Yeah, it is. It looks very AI.
It looks like the picture we had for a couple of live streams ago, whatever, about the digital IDs. Cyber attack cripples global ports, unveiling the urgent need for enhanced maritime security measures. I find this interesting the way that they frame it. They say, making everything about technology in the industry is a threat, so we have to enhance the technology in the industry. It's like, in April 2024, a significant maritime cybersecurity incident revealed substantial vulnerabilities in global shipping infrastructure, highlighting the urgent need for improved cybersecurity measures. This incident underscores the complex and often fragile nature of the maritime industry's digital landscape, exacerbated by the reliance on outdated systems and the absence of robust cybersecurity protocols. I just worry that the new systems are even more vulnerable than the old systems, like asymmetrical warfare or whatever. By you actually may be better off with like the stupid technology that's less like less open to the internet and
less
stuff.
hackerable.
Exactly, yes. We'll use that word. So the incident was on April 6, 2024. A coordinated cyber attack targeted several key maritime ports and vessels, causing widespread disruption. I don't remember hearing about this when it happened. Maybe if somebody else did, they can let me know. But I don't think that this really broke the news whatever was happening at the time. Didn't really break it into the news cycle. The attackers deployed sophisticated ransomware and malicious software to cripple port operations and manipulate automatic identification systems on multiple ships, leading to substantial delays, misrouted cargo, and increased risk of collisions and grounding. The initial breach was detected when several ships reported unauthorized changes to their navigation routes. This led to a series of near collisions in busy shipping lanes, causing immediate concerns over maritime safety. The attack exploited vulnerabilities in the outdated AIS, a crucial system that enables ships to broadcast their identity, position, speed, and other navigational data to nearby vessels and coastal authorities. The financial impact was catastrophic. Preliminary estimates indicate that the incident resulted in losses exceeding $500 million. This figure includes direct operational disruptions such as halted port activities and shipping delays, as well as indirect costs like insurance claims, ransom payments, and losses from perishable goods. The average ransom demand in these attacks typically ranges around $3.2 million per affected entity, significantly contributing to the overall financial burden. Key ports across Europe, Asia, and North America reported extensive delays. Major shipping companies like Maersk and CGM had to reroute vessels and suspend certain operations temporarily. The port of Rotterdam, one of the largest and busiest ports in Europe, experienced a near complete shutdown of its automated systems, leading to massive backlogs and delays because they tried to automate the entire port. And this is why it's very relevant that the port workers are arguing against automation. So I thought that was worth sharing for sure. And then I also, just to jump into the other, I'll just switch to the other tab here, because there's been all kinds of cyber attacks. This morning, I woke up, Bank of America says that widespread service outages have been fully resolved. So a technical issue that was preventing many Bank of America customers from accessing their bank accounts on Wednesday has allegedly been fully resolved, according to the bank. Reports of problems accessing bank accounts spiked around 1 p.m. when the website Down Detector reported about 20,276 outages. Some mobile and online banking clients experienced an issue accessing their accounts and balance information earlier today. Bank of America said in a statement, these technology issues have been resolved. Apologize for the inconvenience, and they did not specify what caused the problem. I don't think you have the right to not specify. You might be fucking the one who hacked them or whatever. You could be responsible for causing the problem. How do we know that you're not criminally negligent if you don't have I'm sure that they have to explain what happened at some point or whatever, but there's not any enforcement on these people or whatever. People are seeing that their bank account balance was saying zero, right? So you think that right now in the middle of our economic crisis, it's okay for your bank to just tell you that yesterday your bank account was zero, but today all your money's back in there fine and you can just trust it? Like it's not just some digital number that doesn't fucking mean anything anymore. But let's automate everything, guys. It'll work, guys. Trust me, guys.
Remember, like we covered this. Like Chase had that glitch, and they were allowing people to deposit checks and shit, and it was like automatically available to them. And we were like, "Is this? Are they doing this on purpose, or what's going on over here?" I need to know.
Yeah. And there was just like a bank hack or whatever. They were blaming it on Russian hackers.
I don't understand why it doesn't let you share. Like I want to share to like set it up. Hold on. I'm going back to you.
Oh,
sorry.
If you try and share in the back, yeah.
Like if you hit share, like, yeah.
That's okay. Yeah. But we'll pivot to whatever you called up there in soon. I don't think this is a long article. It's just
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Take your time.
on Wednesday, people complained that their account balances were not visible on the app, while others said they could access their accounts, but that they were seeing a balance of 0. App not working, and online banking shows yesterday's balance, one user said. Both the app and browser access to BOA remain at least partially down for us, another user said. So this is where they're saying it's fully resolved, but then every user, like every other user, is going to have a different problem, and we're not really going to know if it's properly solved for everybody or just for the preferred customers with the most money, basically. Like, we can see some of our accounts, but not all of them. The transfer between accounts function remains non-functional for all accounts. So that was the Bank of America. Then there was a restaurant industry, because I work in the restaurant industry, and I noticed that they're automating things and bringing in more technology, and I'm thinking their excuse is that it's going to be improving things, make things streamline things, make things more efficient. Well, cybersecurity incidents are really not efficient, and like
So I can't hear you. I can't hear you, so I'm gonna you're oh wait, are you back?
Sorry.
So we didn't hear any of that. Sean, the FDIC.
All right.
I need to look into that because it's usually up to 250K, not 150K. But I feel like I read something where they weren't guaranteeing like they were before. I gotta look that up. Go ahead. Can you start over because we didn't hear anything from the beginning. Start from the beginning.
Sure. I'm not sure where the beginning was. Whatever. I was just saying because
no,
I work
like from
in
the beginning.
Restaurant industry,
yeah.
Because I work in the restaurant industry, I thought when I was looking into the cybersecurity incidents with the maritime people, I'm thinking about the other end of the supply chain where the goods are supposed to be finally received or whatever. There's also cybersecurity threats on that end too. There's also, if we were going to talk about the farms or whatever, people want to make their smart farms or whatever, and like bring all the technology to automate the farming industry. Now you've created a hackable farm, in a time of economic warfare. Just so we're all concerned about foreign actors or owners of our farmland and stuff. They don't even need to own. They don't need to buy the farmland and operate it themselves or whatever. They could just hack your farm now, right? You know what I mean? So, but anyway, not to get ahead of myself. This is the restaurant company SIR Corp investigating cybersecurity incident, October 1st, 2024. Restaurant company SIR Corp is investigating a cybersecurity incident that has impacted part of its information technology infrastructure. The company says it has hired cybersecurity experts to help with containment, remediation, and investigation efforts. SIR owns a portfolio of 54 restaurants in Canada, including Jack Astor's Bar and Grill and Scadabouche Italian Kitchen and Bar. It says it is continuing to operate its restaurants and that guest payment platforms are secure. So they have a cybersecurity incident and they say it's all good. Restaurants are still open and you guys can still come and use our electronic payment platforms and still give us money because they're still secure, guys. It says the investigation is in its preliminary stages and will provide a further update as it progresses. SIR owns and operates restaurants under license from a limited partnership subsidiary royalty income fund. So that's all they tell you. We could watch this little 5-minute clip, but basically these incidents happen and then they reserve the right privacy rights that they don't have to divulge information unless you do a freedom of access, whatever request. And then when you do that, whatever, you're forced to wait months, and then you're not even sure if what information was revealed was all the information that was revealed. So
could be redacted. You have to have the means to do all that. So
And then one of the things, all
so
these
yeah.
firms are going to be buying insurance. They're going to buy insurance because of this shit or whatever to protect themselves. And then guess who's one of those big actors that you might be concerned about behind a lot of the hacking, who would probably be the insurance companies who have a lot of the inside information on who to hack and who not to hack. But go ahead and believe that you can create your arms race to build your technocratic future, and you're going to stay ahead of yourself, whatever, because you guys are all the corrupt ones who can't avoid attacking each other, whatever the capitalists, right? So they just create a hellhole for everybody because they can't resist writing laws that give them too much power, right? So this is where go ahead.
Oh, okay. So Black Life is Black is back. She's on break. She said she hopes that everybody's doing well. Thanks for tuning in. Please remember to hit the like button. Oh, thank you, Black Life. Black Life. Life. They've been cutting up in here. Because we don't have an admin. We have not even been able to keep up with the chat. But apparently, from what Jacqueline said, it spiraled into anarchy. I don't know.
I'm sure
I don't know.
They always got some good things to say. But yeah.
Yeah.
Checking out,
So,
just keeping an eye on the chat in case I say something offensive and I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings or whatever. It's always good to address when
So,
you actually
Sean,
step on a toe.
Yeah. Sean, so most banks are FDIC insured, but not all of them. Not all the banks. And they're insured up to $250,000 for principal and interest. The eligible banks, but not all of them are eligible. So that's something we could look into more later. But this is what I wanted to show you guys. This is coming from itgovernance.usa.com. So their dashboards of data breaches in the USA by month. Oh, can't see shit. My bad. Here we go. That says January, right? Should I make it bigger? It's okay. Look at that.
A little bit bigger, maybe.
A little bit bigger? Okay, I can.
That's a lot of breaches. Was 78 million known records breached?
That's in January. So then they break it up for the top 3.
I should do some math on that real fast. Of the known records breached. Well, that's weird though. Known records and publicly disclosed, whatever. I guess they found them out when they haven't been publicly disclosed, whatever. But that's like a 0.1%, like of the actual breaches are being publicly disclosed.
So I'm gonna go to February.
Huh. That sounds like that's a big jump, from 71 million to 621 million.
It went crazy. Then it goes back down in March. I'll show you. But look at that. So telecom, professional services, healthcare. Just so you guys could take a quick look. Because a lot of people have been complaining about getting text messages of, oh, your package and this and that. And it's because of these breaches. So they have your information and now they could phish, PHISH, phishing. Wait, yeah, phishing. To get more information from you. So these are IT services and software, hospitality, and leisure. 169 million. 252,000. That's in March.
This stuff makes me afraid to answer my phone. You know.
And then they only go to April, so I guess they're still calculating. Look at this shit. Now we in the billions. Wait a minute now. It like exponentially exploded.
Well,
because once you like once you get in there, like you could keep going further and further and further down the rabbit hole.
It's interesting to think about how much data are we creating every day individually. Like some of us have a bigger data footprint than others. Like if you spend if you're a terminally online person, then we are creating a lot of, I don't know, I'm sure if we're creating value with all the time wasted online, right? But we're certainly creating data that's being exploited and for profit making. It's just like fictitious capital shit. So I wouldn't call it that. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't mean my nephew's going to school for cybersecurity. He got a lot of work to do.
Well, don't let him get taken.
He's gonna make some money, honey.
So yeah, don't let him get corrupted or whatever. People think I'm gonna be
I told him that.
warrior. I'm gonna save the world with my skills or whatever. But you probably end up working for a corporation that'll eventually convince you to sell out your friends and family because you're making tons of money keeping their secrets for them.
I talked to him about that. Like, you better know your worth. And I'm not just talking about monetary worth.
We need people that with those skills, right? That's something we're missing here. We don't have some of these tech wizards that would really be useful, right? In case you're listening out there.
So, because in case you're listening out there, because we've been on so long, I'm just gonna jump in this one real quick because our memories are bad. They're bad, and I just want to remind people of why we don't need to be allowing these monopolies to continue. Because remember when Microsoft brought down the entire airline system? So now they're in the process of playing the blame game of who's responsible.
But this is what you get when you want to give all these corporations different rights to own their different corporations and run them however they want to, wherever. Now you've got kind of two kings in the kingdom or whatever, right? Like, but it's difficult because then you get a monopoly when you say you don't have the right to own your own private business or whatever.
We have a monopoly on our media, and John Kerry is pissed off about that because now we have independent media. He doesn't want that. So anyway, can you read that part?
Yeah,
I can read it.
I can read it for you.
Okay, thank you.
A lawyer representing Microsoft said a key crew scheduling system that failed was being serviced by other technology companies, including IBM.
They're pointing fingers all over the fucking place.
But you know how people want to argue against big government? They're always saying we should take these public utilities like the power providers and the water providers, and we should make them private, and that would make them more accountable or whatever. If they had the profit motive motivating them to be honorable, they would actually provide the service better. That's what their argument is. It's like, pretty sure that would be ending in disaster because they don't actually have an obligation to getting the whatever task, the job done that they're supposed to perform, because they are legally obligated to pursue profit instead. So, yeah, doesn't make sense.
Black Life had to get back to her job. Thank you for popping in.
Thank you for being here.
So that was strike 2, right, Michael? Now we're 2 hours and 15 minutes in. Let's get to strike 3, and then we're out. Bye, Jacqueline. Jacqueline's leaving. It's late over there for her. Thank you for staying.
We're going next time, so don't worry. Feel free. Catch us next time. So, always good to see you, Jacqueline.
Always
My
good.
dog's getting hungry, I think, so we're gonna have to try and not stretch this out for too long because everyone's got a body to take care of here. So
yeah, exactly. And I'm sure everybody at home has somewhere to be. So real quick, let's go through the missile strikes, because I'm sure everybody is up on this because most people are gravitating to talking about this because it's like the thing of you know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
the easiest
it's the
thing
hot button issue at the moment.
it's a hot button issue. It's the easiest thing to talk about without like delving
Yeah.
into details of other stuff. So I'm sure they're already up on game. And
Yeah.
I have
Well, as
something
far
for us
as
to leave out on, by the way,
well, I
if you
wanted to
don't
see if
mind.
there was any response because it's yeah, okay. But when we were going to see what missile strike topic to cover, I wanted to see if there was a response from Israel yet as to being hit by Iran. I think it's 2 days ago now. And it looks like they weren't bold enough to completely disregard Iran's warning that if you strike us back in Iran, we will hit you again with more missiles. So they retaliated by punching at Hezbollah because they can't punch at Iran. So they bombed Beirut. They killed 9 more people. That we don't really. I could play this video for you, but because we're short on time, I think I'll just run through the tabs I have a little bit.
Okay.
I wanted to remind people when they're talking about Hassan Nasrallah was assassinated, we think of just a single person dying in that strike. And oh, it's not sharing. It's sharing.
But while you're doing that, let me just remind people that
share
America
the
has been.
other tab.
Yeah, go ahead, take your time. While you're doing that, I'm just going to remind people that America has been boogeymaning us since the 1990s about Iran getting a nuclear weapon. They're so close. 2 months. They're within a year. They're within 2 weeks.
Out a bit. I'm not sure if you are.
Oh.
One.
Okay, I'll say it again later. Go ahead. I think that's you, Michael. Michael, how about you leave and come back?
Hear me? I'm going to share my link with you, Abby, in the private chat. And
okay.
Yeah, I don't know if you can hear me. I'm glitching bad. So.
Yeah, you were glitching pretty bad. So while you're sharing that link, I don't know if people heard me because of the glitching.
Are we back? Can I carry on? Oh.
No, it's gonna take me a second.
In this strike, there was at least 33 killed.
Wait a minute, Michael. Wait a minute, Michael. You gotta give me time to put it up. So while I'm putting that up, I just wanted to mention, because I was glitching, so I don't think people heard me, that Americans, we do have short memories, and we have to remind ourselves that our 3 sources of media have been trying to tell us since the 1990s that Iran is trying to get nuclear weapons. Now, it be a year out, then 2 months. Like, it's been 2 months for 24 years. No, even longer than that, because the 1990s. Okay. Oh, he had to leave because something's going on with his
my computer's running too hot. So I wasn't sure. I'm glad you got the article. So can you read it there, or
this part on the right? At least 33 killed, and on the left.
Right, yeah. No, on the right.
Oh, on the right.
Yeah.
Okay. At least 33 killed and 195 injured by Israeli strikes Saturday, Lebanese health ministry says. What that is. Okay. I already said that. Israel has pounded what it says are Hezbollah targets in the Lebanese capital of Beirut and elsewhere in the country on Friday and Saturday, including an attack in the capital's southern suburbs that killed Hezbollah's leader Hassan Nasrallah. But it was way more than just him, right? It was like
It
a
was
whole cabinet of people, correct?
Yeah, this is a lot of people are saying, "Oh, just killing Nasrallah, Hezbollah is going to brush it off; they'll be fine." But they've actually had a very significant.
It was
Like
significant.
decapitation is not quite a strong word. They did lose a serious amount of commanders. The IRGC, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard, the Iranian military organization, they also lost a commander in this strike. But what's important is Israel here is that Israel said Hezbollah stores weapons in civilian buildings, which the group denies, and accuses Hezbollah of using residents as human shields. So when they say that we had information and we acted on it, we took out Nasrallah, and while they're using human shields, we didn't have a choice. Otherwise, we would have lost our opportunity. The other thing I thought it was important that they shared in this, even CNN shares this. They said that the Lebanese civilians say they cannot heed warnings. They say they cannot heed. That's okay. It's just saying they cannot heed warnings from Israel's military to avoid places where Hezbollah is operating because the group is a highly secretive organization. The health ministry says over 1,000 people have been killed since Israeli attacks escalated last week. And this is, I think, a story from 6 days ago. So there's probably another 1,000 people have been killed since then. So that's
what?
Yeah.
They really want war with Iran. They want it so bad they could taste it. Ugh.
I don't understand it though. Like I think it makes no sense to fight a war on 3 fronts. They also seem to want to create a conflict with China over Taiwan.
Because they're maniacs.
Right. But like just from a military perspective, I'm not a frickin' military guy. I should take the moment to. I was talking about a salient way back when about Ukraine. I had no idea what I was talking about, or whatever. I'd love to fix that mistake one day, or whatever, and show you what a salient actually is, or whatever. But my point is, it doesn't make any military sense to pick a war on three fronts at the same time. You will lose. Like no one's ever won that in history, right? But
Michael, when you think you're untouchable, and you're sitting on piles of cash personally, is your brain like? Are you in the right mindset? Like you're insane. These are insane people running our country.
Yeah.
So of course they're going to make insane decisions.
People would say that there's a controlled demolition of the West going on there, and I find it a little bit difficult to dismiss as conspiracy theory because, well, that doesn't make any sense. What they're doing, like strategically, logistically, whatever. It seems like they are setting themselves up for failure more than success, and you would do that if it's not your failure that you're going to have to pay for. That would be kind of a rational reason why you would do something that appears to be so irrational, or they've just all completely lost their mind or whatever. I wonder if they're trying to,
because they have bunkers,
right? Like, because what if it would make sense if they're trying not to actually fight on 3 fronts and they're trying to make it look like they're going to get bogged down in Ukraine, and then as soon as you think that they're stuck there, so you can open up a front against the Americans somewhere else because they're going to be stuck. Then they're going to be clever enough to, oh, now you're going to have to deal with us all by yourself, thinking we were going to be stuck in Ukraine, motherfucker, or whatever. I don't think that's like, it's hard to really, because I don't see them being able to pivot out of it. Like, even if they wanted to drop Ukraine tomorrow, whatever, they've kind of overextended themselves. They can't pull out like they did in Afghanistan. I think, I don't know. Prove me wrong, please. Get out of Ukraine right tomorrow, just to prove me wrong. So.
Are there Western airlines that are rethinking their position on reducing arms? Are they? Because it seems like we just sent $8 billion over there like last week.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people rethink it, like act like they're rethinking it, but every time it comes time to not like give them more money or weapons, they always double, triple down. So it seems like they're caught into a situation they don't know what to do but to play whack-a-mole with everyone who tries to fight them, and that's actually potentially what will do them in the end. But I don't know. We'll see. There's other issues we could talk about with Ukraine and Russia or whatever, because everyone seems to have we're not taking nuclear apocalypse seriously anymore. Like, we're in a situation worse than the Cuban Missile Crisis potentially, but we're not acting like it. Like, this time around, we're completely like disinterested in the potential threat of global annihilation, because Zelensky's asking.
We are busy worried about P. Diddy.
Yeah.
Zelensky's asking
for long range missiles to strike at Russia, and Russia says, if you give Ukraine long range missiles, we're going to consider that to be
an act of war.
Active war on behalf of NATO.
On behalf of NATO, yeah.
So they're saying we will consider that to be Russia and NATO at war directly if you do that, and they said that clearly. And that's why the White House has been reluctant to have to tell Zelensky, we're not going to actually give you those long range missiles. That would maybe be really nice for you, but no, sorry.
Zelensky's just a puppet and an actor. It's the people behind him telling him to say that. So
I found a little video of him.
He's
today
probably a hostage at this point.
The Russians were trolling him. I found a video on Rumble here. Maybe I could share it. It's a Russian newscaster, not RT. It's just Russian TV, I guess. I don't know what.
While you're looking for that, may I just say that the Iron Dome ain't working.
Yeah. But they didn't, like, Zelensky just went and visited the White House, I guess, and he was not greeted with the full pomp and circumstance of a presidential figure there. So,
Sean said him dancing. Have you ever seen that of him doing the?
Maybe.
You ever seen that?
No,
I've
seen plenty of the Zelensky stuff, but I didn't want to go digging into some of his like porno stuff or whatever.
It's not porno.
I actually did download and I watched that TV sitcom that he did where he played a president before he became the president. I watched a season of that. It was surreal as fuck.
You didn't see him in that onesie?
No, I didn't. I might have seen a picture of it, but I didn't watch a video of him actually.
Oh, okay.
I should though. It's probably pretty.
It's pretty fucking funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Iron Dome. How much money did Americans spend on that Iron Dome?
And, I like to call it the irony.
They figured out Irony Dome.
Yeah.
And Iran figured out how to break through it easily.
Yeah.
And they haven't even used their most powerful weapons yet, and they had already figured out how to break through it. So.
Well, part of Putin's warning to the West, because he changed his nuclear policy in response to these threats that they may be sending long-range missiles. Basically, if Ukraine tries to do what Iran just did to Israel, they consider that fair trigger for them to use nuclear weapons now. So they're putting a double standard on the West. They're like, fuck you, okay? Our ally can do this, but if your ally does this, fuck you. Okay.
Do you want to send me that link in private chat?
Yeah.
You think it's going to glitch?
I could, well, maybe I'm going to hit play on this video, and then I'll send you the other link.
Okay. Oh, not that.
So, resolved even before the
It's already
start of their
glitching.
negotiations. The press
It's already glitching.
secretary of
Yep. It was already glitching. Just send it to me in private chat. I'll pull it up. Now, while you're
I don't know
doing
if it's working for you, but
it will work for me. So while you're doing that, I'm just gonna play something funny.
Shouldn't cause any reaction. This is fucking around at a 1 or maybe even a 0. right? But all of a sudden,
Find out method.
the actor responds with a level 10, which the comedian finds out right here. So then you would feel like maybe the gradient line should go something like this. But there's an underlying factor here, okay? The comedian fucked around at a level 1. No big deal. But what the actor mistook was that, say his wife had been fucking around at a 9, right? So that fucking around gets added to the comedian's activities, putting them at a fuck around level of 10, okay? And that would explain the find out of 10. When the actions of you or somebody else, maybe at a level 1 fuck around, get added with the actions of another, that's called a fuck around entanglement.
Not an entanglement.
And what can happen with an entanglement like that is what it can happen is it will rock the axis here, fuck around axis. All right. And what can happen is if this happens to you repeatedly over time, it can cause you to become jaded. Okay. So just remember that sometimes it may not be your actions that cause the find out, but maybe your actions are entangled with the actions of another, which will rock the fuck around axis, causing you to become jaded.
Jadad.
Okay, so Jadad. So actually, this guy right here, I'm gonna leave out on a funnier video of the real fuck around and find out axis, because there's a real one that this dude, I don't know what he talking about, but here is the video that you wanted to play. So here we go.
Oh, is it? We got sound. I can't hear it. I don't know if the audience has sound issues, but.
Oh, you can't hear it?
No, I can't hear it.
Okay, no problem. Real quick. Boom, boom. Sometimes, I don't know why it does that.
It just needs to be reset or whatever. You try it the first time.
Yeah,
and
you got to reset it sometimes.
And then it works. So.
Okay, so here we go. Ooh. Go back.
So, the main intrigue meeting between Zelensky and Biden in the United States was resolved even before the start of their negotiations. The press secretary of the American president, Karen Jean-Pierre, officially stated that Ukraine will not receive permission to strike deep into Russia, and no revision of the U.S. approach to this issue is expected. These words were spoken just at the very moment when Zelensky's motorcade was approaching the White House. Another humiliation happened for the overdue president on the lawn of the American president's office. Neither Biden nor Harris bothered to personally meet Zelensky, sending an unknown protocol officer to the entrance. The details of Zelensky's victory plan remained unknown. The State Department later said that it perceives the document not as a victory plan, but as a set of requests and so far unfulfillable demands. The reason for the misunderstanding was explained today by the New York Times. This is the fear of a possible forceful, including nuclear, response from Moscow. The sweet pill for Kyiv is $8 billion for the purchase of weapons. In general, instead of joining NATO, instead of permission to use long-range missiles, and instead of other forms of future guarantees for Zelensky, Biden gave dollars and some weapons. This will be enough for about 5 months, until the next American president is sworn in. Zelensky met with the still acting vice president, the Democratic candidate Harris.
Wait, so he's trying to get as much money as he can just in case?
Let's cross our fingers that that's the last weapons shipment that Zelensky receives. But somehow I get the impression that
like Trump isn't gonna send him more money.
I should have kept the receipt. I saw Trump was praising a Ukrainian billionaire for whatever reason, for electoral points for some reason.
And he's also and he's also a Zionist himself. He's been saying, like we have to see this to the end and all that stuff.
But if he's such
Now-
an anti-establishment or whatever pirate, then what the hell is he kissing the ring of some Ukrainian billionaire for? Explain that.
Because it's all a ruse.
Yeah.
Like his supporters think they're both in cults. I'm just gonna put this up real quick before we get back to it, because I'm putting back up the joke about the Iron Dome. Okay, and then that's a butchered version of Mastermind's joke. He said, "Please put up my Mastermind Hour comment," because Mastermind Hour will get real sensitive.
Apparently,
he gets real sensitive about his jokes, baby.
Everyone seems to think that Mastermind is the guy you can steal everything from. Everyone can have a piece of his work, right? Mastermind's Ukraine.
I gotta call him and see if he's gonna be available for Monday. If not, fuck it, we doing it live.
Yeah, I hope you guys are doing good. Take your break, enjoy yourselves.
Yep. We're all here for each other, so don't even worry about it.
And cookies
It's
wherever you
all
are.
good.
Leader, hopefully you're having a good time at work there. I know you're working hard. Keep it up.
And look at Bella. Look how Bella is hanging. She behind you like.
Yeah, I should have fed her before we started, but she wasn't bothering me. So she was sleeping.
She about to bap the piss out of you. Get off that goddamn computer and feed me.
Yeah. She's so patient, but then she's only got so much of it. So I think we have covered our 3 topics. We got all 3 of our strikes there.
We did. So are we out?
Well, we could wrap up. We got any announcements?
Is that what that mean? You sent me 2 things. I don't know if you at least want me to read the headline at the very least.
Well, because you were asking about
Putin.
I think you wanted me to clarify what I was saying about Putin's nuclear doctrine change or whatever.
It says Putin revises. I wonder if I can show it. Let me see. I should, because audio isn't involved. There it is.
Yeah.
Okay. There we go. Putin revises his nuclear doctrine, but have his red line shifted. Is this big ass thing on the state? Okay, there it goes. Do you want to read some of this?
Yep. I had only on my page I'd highlighted just a couple of things. I'll start at that part where it says this week, whatever. So this week, Putin once again rattled the arms control world by revealing proposed changes to his country's nuclear doctrine. In a meeting Wednesday of the Security Council, the president said Russia would revise the doctrine to potentially lower the bar for the use of nuclear weapons, adding that Moscow would regard an attack by a non-nuclear state that involved or was supported by a nuclear state as a joint attack against the Russian Federation. So Ukraine's not technically a nuclear state, but if they do, basically, they've changed the rules so that if they do a massive missile strike, that they'll consider that as if the U.S. is attacking them. So nuclear retaliation, Putin continued, could be considered once we receive reliable information about a massive launch of air and space attack weapons and they're crossing our state border. I mean strategic and tactical aircraft, cruise missiles, UAVs, and hypersonic and other aircraft. So basically, like I was saying, if they do an Iran-style attack on Russia now, Russia reserves the right to retaliate with nuclear weapons. So there was another blurb that I had highlighted that's lower down, that's just above the picture of the big nuke or whatever. It says there are 2. I'll just read it from my page. I don't need to call it back up. I'll just read it for you real quick or whatever. So it says there are 2 noteworthy points of departure. You can if you want, but if you got it.
Where are you?
Just, like, go down to the picture with the big nuke and then the paragraph just above it. There are 2 noteworthy points right there. So There are two noteworthy points of departure from the previous 2020 Russian military doctrine. She wrote on X. I forget who she wrote on X, but 2020 doctrine allowed 2020 doctrine allowed the use of nuclear weapons in response to conventional aggression that jeopardizes the very existence of the state. This is now relaxed to extreme threats to state sovereignty. What does that mean? Who defines what constitutes these threats? Likely Mr. Putin. Conventional aggression is further specified to include a massive airspace attack. Who defines what constitutes massive or massive enough? Likely Mr. Putin. Are you liking a taste of your own medicine, guys? Who gets to define whatever is legal or not? It doesn't matter if it's right or wrong. Yeah, your legal positivism is fucking blowing up in your face. Because Putin tried to work with the West. He wanted to be a part of NATO and all this shit. And now you guys wanted to leave him out in the cold. And he's going to use what he knows about the West against the West. So there you go.
And can we also mention that that the I forget the acronym, but the Arab League of Nations or something? They were trying to do a peace deal with Israel. They've been trying to do it for a long time now. Yeah. Israel refuses. Oh, Cheryl.
Oh, nice.
Happy birthday.
And congratulations on making it to 95, because I'm pretty sure I'm not making it to 60, so yeah.
I want to sing the Stevie Wonder version of Happy Birthday. The fun one. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
You see her other comment up there? She said, I always say if I didn't have doctor appointments, I'd have no social life at all.
I did see that. I was laughing when you were talking.
My bad.
I think that about my mom, but she does actually she plays bridge, she plays Bikino. I take her on trips. She's a badass. I mean, like literally and figuratively. And thank you for joining. I know it's we're late. These are our 3 strikes, and now we out. Let me play the this one's for Rondo. This is for Rondo. It is the real Fuck Around and Find Out graph. Not the one I played while you were trying to pull up articles. This is the real one. Because I don't know what he was talking about. And this goes back to freedom of speech, by the way. How Rondo, we were talking about. You have freedom of speech, but you don't have the freedom not to get your ass whipped for what's coming out your mouth. So, you want to send some shout outs before we go?
Well, shout out to Hardlands Media and INN. Those guys are my go-to for a good amount of information. I'd say check out some Midwestern Marks. They've been doing some interesting stuff. I actually was just on Noah's call-in show last week. That's why I was a little late for Monday. So I think that's nice. That's a good thing that they're doing. If you have criticisms of their stance on Marxism, you can call in and actually communicate with them. Doesn't necessarily mean that you'll get a fair shake in your mind, but at least they're willing to have a dialogue with someone. They're willing to put themselves out there for you to talk to them, and they're not just being a shut-in and refusing to have a dialogue. So anyway.
So we'll see you on Monday. I'm not sure if Mastermind Hour will be there, but I'll be there. And I'll check with him this weekend to see if he'll be there. And if not, I'll probably have some type of co-host. If you want to be my co-host, message me. If you have anything that you guys want us to cover, message us. We're just like a Discord or X away. Not a big deal. Right, Sean? Oh, I'm sorry, not Sean. My crazy ass. Right, old man Barker? Who says, hey, our mother. our mother. Get it? Double entendre there, because she's our mother too. Because we stole her. Oh, thank you, Sean. We appreciate it. We appreciate it. Okay, so I'm gonna let you leave because Bella is about to beat your ass.
Oh yeah. Ella says
So
goodbye.
so I'll handle the ending. Okay, just say your goodbyes and I'll take care of it for you. Okay.
Okay. Well.
All right.
Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you next week. Yeah, I already shouted out a few people, whatever. Well, one channel, if you're interested about following the Iran Israel stuff, I've been following. It's called Mahmoud OD, MAHMOODOD. If you search that on YouTube, he seems to be. I'm not really sure who he is, kind of thing. I don't know, but he's given good reports so far on what's happening in Israel and Palestine that you're not getting from the mainstream media. So feel free to check him out. And we've been going on and on and on. And if we keep talking, we're going to keep going. So thanks for being
I know,
here.
but before you say bye, say hello to a new member, Marcus Cage, young Morpheus.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's Marcus Cage from the Political Matrix. I've been watching this show. I appreciate your work. Thanks for stopping by.
Oh, I got it. Okay, you could tell me so I could subscribe later. Thank you,
Yeah.
Marcus. Thanks for stopping by.
Well, maybe
All
we
right,
can do an interview with them someday. But yeah.
Okay, so take care of Bella before you fuck around and find out.
Yes, it's time to go. So have a good night, everyone. Bye.
Sean, you can't hear that? Sean, no sound. Okay. All right, here I go. It does that sometimes, you guys. I thought I was real smooth with it. I didn't have an admin, and I jumped right into the. I thought I was doing some good producing over here. All right, here we go. Give me a second. I'm gonna get you right. Okay. Here we go.
As you can see,
can you hear it now?
The more you fuck around, the more you're going to find out.
Oh, thank you, Sean.
I couldn't let this slide, Joe. Could not let this slide.
But can you hear it?
Let me just say this. That video you sent had the find out, fuck around line as 1-to-1. Ridiculous, bro. Ridiculous. Everybody that's ever fucked around knows that there is a certain level of fuck around that you get for free. And then the shit you find out gets found out real quick. You understand what I'm saying? It's an exponential curve. You fuck around this much, okay? Fuck around that much, I'm gonna let it slide. But you hit a point, shit gets real, and you find out real fucking quick. And that's the real fuck around, find out curve.
Mm.